You have to go see. I think it's disrespectful. I think the killing people is down on the left. One of the reasons I like to give somebody so much.
And then what about that?
Listen to his story. Just the nicest people and you know, trying to bounce back economically. Somebody else, we took a two people from 60
We're connected on one side. Can you make it happen on the other?
I need There's a screwdriver in the black cabinet in the office. There's a screwdriver in the black cabinet in the office. Or there's a button that you can put in
And then when we got home, my wife did it, but when we went to Portugal, she got it.
No, he just went over to he has capital hands on.
Just don't. Yeah, there you go. All right. We'll get the, yeah.
I'll add that to the list.
I gotta get a gavel. Actually, more appropriate, a little air horn.
Yeah. I'll add it.
A whistle. Whistle would be good, yeah. Okay, there are coffee and donuts over there. There is a sign in. And we will have public comment if anybody has something they need to say. So we'll call the meeting to order. August 18th, 9 a.m. Roll call. Adjourn. Here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said as your name. I'm here, sorry.
Here, halfway.
Brian, here. Rod, here. Maury, here.
Good day.
All right, and I will say thank you to all of the board of directors. This is the first full board in person we've had in several months. Thank you. It's good to see everybody. The normal thing, I will read if there was a lot of discussion from last month about comments from the floor. Previously, it was difficult. There were a lot of people who felt they weren't able to speak or their voices not being heard. I changed that so that if you would like to speak, we allow that at the meetings, but I do ask that you raise your hand, be recognized. You'll need to state your name so that Stacy can be sure who's making the comments. And we need to hold the comments down to the particular purpose that we're talking about. We don't need any personal experiences or Steve, anything else that you might come up with that's random. So we'll go on from there. We have the consent agenda, and there are some changes that I know need to be made to that. So we'll go over that. Is it up there? No. Yeah. The ones I wanted, I believe there was a comment in the volunteer fundraising where we didn't, oh great, thank you. We didn't know, at the time it said that we were canceling Hyper Day games. Since that time it changed. So that will need to be adjusted in there. Is there anything else, anybody else? Oh, I do want to report the minutes were not available. We had a crash situation.
My computer crashed, sorry.
No,
I sent it to Bill and then my computer crashed and we couldn't find them.
So we will produce those as soon as possible so that they're ready. And then the financial reports you have in front of you now. Any questions from the board about the consent agenda?
My turn.
Hearing none, huh?
Oh, sorry.
Hearing none, I will ask for a motion to accept the agenda.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I'll second.
That was
That was pretty-
Yes.
any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote.
Karen.
Yes,
Tom.
Aye.
Rod. Aye. Morgan.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
No, I'm an aye as well.
Right. So committee reports, Rob. Let's try to keep this one somewhat the
Yeah.
same day.
Okay. I'm gonna change it up a little bit. I will go over the bottom line on the asset snapshot, and then we'll pull up the financial statements, take any questions anybody has, but I'm not gonna go through line by line because I was falling asleep as I was doing it last week, or last month, so. So on the asset snapshot, in total, we have 1.49 million in assets. And that is made up with the 839 in Firewise, 192,000 between two checking accounts, 70,000 plus in garbage, 40,000 in legal fund, 942,000 in marina, 79,000 plus in volunteer, and 168,000 in roads. All right, now on to the financials. So again, these will be posted, so if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask later, just ask now. If there are any questions related to financials.
I got one.
Yeah,
Wasn't the road assessment earlier or last month, 160 something thousand, now it's 158,000?
it's 168,000.
Oh, you said 60, okay, I thought you said 50.
Yeah. Any questions on financials?
All right. That was easy, thank you. Architectural, Teresa?
I'm here, hi.
Hey, nice to
Hey,
meet you.
everybody.
So you're Teresa.
I'm
Nice to put
Teresa.
a face on the name.
Okay, there was just one application. It was Scott and Michelle Forrest. And that was for a full shed, and we reviewed it, did a site visit and approved it. That's it, that's the full report.
Well, thank you. And you have your committee members established, correct?
Yes, we have two new committee members, both owners, of course, Lisa Vernaza and Molly Severin.
Okay, and when we get committee members, they would need to be approved by the board.
Okay.
So, if there's any discussion, I'm not familiar, but if they're landowners, they obviously they qualify. So unless there's any discussion, make sure, Stacy, were you able to get the spelling of those names?
I did my best, but yeah, I got it.
I can help you with that.
Yeah, okay, well, great. Does anybody, since this is our first meeting with Teresa, does anybody have any questions or?
Would you like to sit?
Yeah.
There's a bunch
Oh,
of seats.
Okay.
They're right at the table. Whatever.
Oh.
Well, you've been big boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. Well, she's a little shorter than you are.
You get behind Tom, you can't see her at all.
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay, so do you have any questions of the board with regards to the committee and operation, any of that?
No, I think I'm just kind of learning quickly, and if I have questions, I'll direct them.
Okay, perfect. All right. Thank you very much for volunteering. Yes.
I just have one more thing on financials, so. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's not gonna take long.
Do we need a motion to approve these two?
Accordingly, in the back, we had on some, we have on others, we can make a motion to approve, if you
Lisa.
have their names. so-
Lisa Vernaza
Vernaza.
and Molly Severin.
Okay, and Karen makes that motion.
I do.
I'll second.
Seconds. Any discussion?
Can we hear more about them?
I-
Full-time, part-time?
Oh, sure. They
We have a
are
motion.
both part-time and are fairly new owners. I think Molly's been here about 3 years, Vernaza's maybe 2. And we're all together across from my property over by the airport strip,
Like the.
Blackview Lane, yeah.
Any other discussion?
Before we do that, can I get, okay, so the second one was who? I got Lisa and
Molly
Molly
Severin,
Severin.
yeah.
okay, I'm ready for the roll call. Okay, Karen,
Yes.
Tom,
Aye.
Rob,
Aye.
Morgan.
Aye.
Brian, aye. I'm an aye.
Okay. All right, did you want to jump in on your financial real quick?
I don't need the financial report up, it's just related to the treasurer role. Charlene Longoria has been a fantastic volunteer who's helped with cash drops, check drops, and communicating deposits to Fieldstone. And I'm gonna start the process. She would like to no longer do that, so I'm gonna start the process here in the near future of seeking out a volunteer who can fill that void.
So there, you put up a description and we can put it on the website?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And that's strictly cash drop, so they would have to have some.
Yeah, they would be, we have to do a background check, they'll do a double count in the office with the office staff. And then take it into Umpqua.
Okay.
for a deposit. I'm trying to get a check reader machine from Umpqua, so I don't have to do checks physically anymore at the bank, just do it here.
Does the bank offer a courier that would do that?
They do.
Third party?
Yeah.
That's not too expensive.
Yeah. a little bit. Thank you.
So now we have communications. I've moved that to old business. because I think it's going to be a little bit longer, so if that's okay with you two. Okay, so Karen, you had some office information.
Really, we just are in the process of hiring a new employee. And we'll work, Michelle, maybe you're married, to get some more training for the staff in the office on the system.
And when do you think you'll have, are you interviewing new employees now?
We did
Oh, you
interview
haven't.
somebody. Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
So next would be security rules and regs. Yo, hey, Bob, you have one?
I have a question for Karen. It's been brought to my attention that the office personnel can no longer write names on the packages so we can actually see who's who. And they can no longer call us to notify us that we have a package in the office. And I am curious as to why this has been brought up. I was told it was because of liability. And I had the question is, how does that bring up liability when all they're doing is writing names on the packages and giving us a call, letting us know that we have a package there? My understanding is that these girls are paid by the HOA, which is funds that we give. So this is something that helps us as landowners. Why can't this continue as it was?
Arlene, you have a comment
We're not obligated to call anybody and let them know they have packages there, because in most cases, the sender notifies them that they have a package. We just did it as a courtesy.
And I love it. Yeah, it was very nice.
Yeah, we just did it as a courtesy to call people and let them know, but we're not obligated.
No, I never said obligation. I just
Okay.
said it's been stopped and I was wondering why.
As far as the calls are concerned, there isn't any particular reason that we haven't
Sometimes
said,
we're just too
don't
busy
call.
to do it.
Yeah, we haven't called, but the handling the packages and putting names on it ends up being, there has to be a disconnect between the FedEx driver putting it someplace and the customer picking it up. If anybody handles it in between that particular point, then that assumes some liability. If the package is damaged or broken, it relieves FedEx, UPS, Amazon from any liability because somebody else has handled the package, whether it was open or not, whether it was done anything to it. It then becomes our problem because we took it, we signed a name on it, we put it up. Obviously, it doesn't really indicate that there's going to be a problem.
Oh, I understand.
The switch of the
That's
liability
right.
is what we run into, and I, at that particular point, the board decided that it's probably better, since we have an office full of packages, anything can go wrong, and if it does, we just as soon not have to pay for it, so that's why.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. That's a good answer.
I would like to see the post office actually do their job and put those small packages in parcel carriers outside.
Right.
They're bringing everything inside. So that small stuff can go out in those bins.
Arlene?
Generally, when they bring the small things in, it's because the bigger boxes are full. They can't get any more in. So that's when they bring the smaller packages in.
Okay.
So then maybe we need to look at getting more parcel bins in and alleviate the packages in the office.
More expensive.
Okay, well,
There's a comment, somebody has the same question as it relates to collecting payments. So the same question about the light. I don't know if you just want to re-clarify why.
Brian, you can go back over that, that was.
About collecting payments, why we can't have people drop off payments for anyone in the office.
Which payment specifically are we?
For private businesses.
So we have established that also is a liability. There are lock boxes sitting on the floor of the office waiting to be installed on the wall for whoever's private business wishes to utilize money drops. When they get installed, we'll have to ask Karen when that will happen.
What do you mean?
You're the office manager, correct?
Okay,
So
I guess I don't understand the question.
there wasn't a question. I said that we have lock boxes. They're sitting on the floor in the office in the back, waiting to be installed. So I'm reverting that installation and utilization to you.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Okay.
There was a question from the board Bill,
Go ahead, Mike.
about the employee, if the employee has been hired or if we need to approve that first.
Well, you haven't brought it to the board, you don't bring.
We generally don't bring it to the board. We just we have a committee that hires them or interviews them and runs through the background check, and then we hire them. We've never brought a
Doesn't that seem a little bit odd that we have to vote on having a committee member, but yet we're going to pay somebody? I don't.
be happy to bring it to the board when she covers when she,
Check the background check, yeah, we would like to be able to see who that is. Yeah.
So there's another committee that does the interviewing?
there's the office committee that does the interviewing.
So the employees, office employees?
Yes, yes. So it was office employees, myself and Jeff Thompson. And we have the same interview questions. We score them and it goes onto a whole sheet and looks at the score against the 8 or 10 other people that we've interviewed and then have them fill out all their information and we run them through a background check.
Well, that covers those questions for office, so then we go to security rules and regs.
Did Mike said he was gonna give you the report?
He did not send me a report. The only thing I received from Mike was his resignation.
Oh, I thought he sent the minutes, but
I did too.
sometimes he's hard to control.
So, I can just, I don't know what the minutes were from Mike. I haven't seen them or the report that he talked about. So all I can tell you is that we will have security on site, Labor Day weekend, campus security, and, the 3-0 watch, we're gonna meet this afternoon at 1, I think, and work through a schedule for today or for the weekend. But it's not gonna be too much different than what we've done the last 2 weekends. So I have had actually 2 committee members resign from rules and regs. Concerning one, because of feeling harassed from landowners, right, a landowner. So I'm looking for 2 new rules and regs members, if anybody would like to volunteer.
They're getting harassed
Yeah.
for the rulings
Yes.
by,
Mhm.
really.
By a landowner, yes. Mhm.
Yes, that's how bad it's gotten, and that this particular landowner was fine. And so went down to the beach and started taking pictures of people at the beach. And they were informing them that they had been fined and these people were making the same violation and they needed to be reported and fined, and there was a lot going on there, so. He felt intimidated, which I would too, if somebody's down there taking pictures of my family and those kind of things, yeah, I would feel that that's the way we impose it, so. He
But
has decided to resign.
On another note, I do like how HOA Start is, I mean, the complaints are filed through. And we added Mary as a help. There you go, Mary.
Speaking of which.
Yes, we can talk about it, absolutely. So Mary has joined as our admin person to take notes and that, and hopefully we can bring her
And
forward.
hopefully try to get some alignment to the violation process, as you were
Yes.
talking about.
Yes.
It's a little clunky through HOA Start, and so I've been trying to help Mike, but just really don't have the capacity right now. So Mary was so gracious to say, yes, I can help, since she's been helping on the other one. So
Yeah,
she stepped in to help, and Mike apologized, but you know, didn't realize she was stepping in so hard, so.
Well, great. So we do have something going for the security and rules and regs chairperson. If we've got to find that person.
we will find that person, absolutely.
Okay.
Hey, Bill, I have one
Yes.
question. Is there a limit to any committee, amount of members that can be involved?
Yes,
There's a max number?
yes.
Yeah.
And they have to be a landowner?
No. There are two rules to the committee. One being there can only be 2 directors on the committee.
Okay.
And the other one is there would be up to 6,
Including the director.
including the directors. So that would be,
They can be landowners, so can landowners.
correct.
Is there a minimum bid?
There, I believe that, yeah, I think it's either 2 or 3, but yes, there is a minimum. Which we struggle with. We have struggled with for years past. Now, we've had volunteers, and we'd just like to keep that volunteer base going as strong as we can. We had committees which had 4 directors on it, which gave that committee, there was no reason to come to the board because they controlled the vote. So whatever we decided, we opted to move that down to 2 and bring on at least the 4 landowners to do that, okay?
And there was a question in chat, where is it written that a non-owner can run a committee?
There isn't anything written there, so there is no established rule that would be doing that or anything. Yeah. I know where that one's coming from. Okay, so anything else on committee reports?
Hey, Karen, you got the times when the security's coming for this upcoming 3-day weekend?
Not right here. They'll be here, one patrol will be Friday night, like from 6 to 3, if I remember correctly. And on Saturday, we'll have 2 patrols. One will do the marina, one will walk the beach, and another will drive around. And I think they're all from 11 to 6 is the marina, 11 to 3 a.m. is the other patrol. And Sunday is 11 to midnight, I think, Sunday night.
Is this Compass doing that?
It is. We had a three weekend bid. We signed a contract for 3 weekends. So
Can I just ask a question regarding the complaint? It seems to me, and I could be wrong, it's mostly dogs down there that
It is.
that people are concerned about. Is there a way that we can improve our signage, communication, a blast out to everybody and just say, you know what, the beaches are
That's
not dog friendly.
I don't know that is there a sign down there that actually says?
I don't know, but I was down there the other day.
No, it's not about leashes, though.
The dog.
Exactly.
I think we gotta be clear, it's not about leashes.
Right.
It's
Right,
about
dogs.
dogs swimming in the swimming
Kid
area.
area, and there is signage.
Yeah, and there is signs, and we communicate it numerous times on Facebook. It goes out on every handout that comes in on big weekends, so.
That's just something
It's
we
lots.
need to keep doing that
yeah.
until it sinks in.
It
Yeah.
seems like, as you just said, most of the complaints are around dogs.
Yeah, I would imagine.
And even in the rule, it doesn't say that dogs have to, it says it has to
Be under
comply with
control.
animal control, but it says you have to be under control.
Right.
It doesn't say your dog has to be on a leash.
Right.
So it kind of lines it out for the beach of what you can do. So even in the rule, it states no dogs.
As defined by the tree line.
We'll look into signage then. And
Yeah.
You show me how to keep a dog out of water.
I know, I know.
Just throw the stick.
It'll only be my dog.
Is there an area that we could designate a dog area?
Everywhere but the swim area.
Okay, so there's water access other than
Yeah,
that.
a ton of it, a ton of it. Yeah, I mean, I know that my brother's dogs poop in the water as soon as they get in it. Think about your kiddos being in the water or the dog just did its business, so, yeah, it's fairly simple, pretty simple rule, keep them out of the swim area.
It's not the dog, it's the owner.
Right.
Very true.
Good point.
Not the dog.
Very good point.
I mean, our little kids want
Okay,
One other thing, one of those dogs says no dogs in swim area is behind the outhouse at the boat ramp, so we need to either move the outhouse or move that sign.
Yep.
Because if you walk from the boat ramp that way, you really don't see that sign, it does not stick out.
That's
So it
the
needs
huge
to be-
handicap.
Yeah, the big handicap outhouse blocks the one side.
oh, okay. Well, we can have them place that set in a different
Right in the
location,
middle of
okay.
the path going on to the beach. Right there in front of it.
There's any question in the back?
I was just curious, but one of the other complaints I noticed was, picking of dog poop. I don't know if there's a place down there, but like all the local parks around our area have donations for bags and stuff.
We have two,
Yeah, they're
Okay, I
there.
just,
Oh,
I don't take my dogs over there, I just.
There's two of them. They're all stacked.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was
Well,
all.
really, it's just- Yeah, the volunteer fundraising is put those up down there along with the life jacks, you know, so that's all. Okay, so anything else for committee report? Entertain a motion to accept the committee report. Oh, come on.
No, I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call. Karen.
Aye.
Tom.
Aye.
Rob. Aye. Morgan.
Aye.
Ryan. I'm an aye. Okay. So we move into old business. First thing up is Joe. Is he on?
Public
You have
comment.
public testimony.
Oh, I did have, I'm sorry, public testimony. Do we have public testimony? I have, well, Meg, Bob, you're signing in for, anything from the floor?
Well, mine is specifically has to do with the Labor Day games, so I don't know if you want to get into that.
We can have that in new business.
Let's do new business on that and we'll put it there.
Okay.
And that way, because you guys will,
I don't see it in your business. Oh, okay.
we'll add it in.
We can add it when we talk about
Yeah.
communications.
That's our prerogative to have that in. Okay, so now, anything else from the floor? Yes,
I have something about roads, I don't know if you turn it up now or
now's as good a time as any. Your name?
what's being done with the,
Yes, for your name.
What's your name?
Jim,
Jim, okay?
what's being done, what is the pile of hot patch that's at the beginning of the top of the airfield by the can boxes?
You want to,
What's the purpose of that?
you want to talk
That's a
about?
cold patch.
Real cold patch.
Okay, what it is what we did, what was it, Thursday? We fixed some potholes.
I seen that, yeah.
Okay, well, that's the use for it, and that's a good place. Anybody's welcome to take some to fix a hole if they want to.
Okay.
But that's what it was. Greg Wynn, donated that coal patch. And so we're using it to fix potholes.
Okay.
So if you, any landowner can just get to the file and use it. But it seems to be focused to those fortunate enough to be up on airstrip. Those of us on Upper Canyon are still fighting the potholes. So
Well,
here it comes.
Airstrip had a place to put it.
Okay, all right, sure, Bob.
Yeah, I don't live there.
Yeah, you don't live on Upper Canyon.
Our airfield, either one.
Yeah, that's great. So that answer your question, Chip?
Yeah, I was just wondering why it's just sitting there. It doesn't look like being used for anything.
Oh, yeah, they did through the other day.
Four.
Go for it.
Yeah.
So, and the
The two right in front of my.
the airport has, the runway has also used some to patch their cracks.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, we go from there to, yes?
There's a question on chat, which I don't think we've talked about before. Is chat considered comment for purposes of signing? So if somebody wants to sign up for public comment,
I, that would be, yeah, I mean, if it's a way of getting to us, then yeah, we'd have.
yes? Okay, so I don't know if, Randy Geisler asked that question, so I don't know if he's wanting to
Okay.
come off mute and
Uh,
speak.
Actually just have Randy call me. But I'll set aside. And then put a smiley face because he knows what I need, okay?
He said thank you.
Yeah. So then we go to old business and that's Joe. Harold. I don't think he came today. Is he
He
on?
was
He was
on,
on.
but I don't see him on now, but doesn't mean that he's not there somewhere.
Okay, good morning, all.
There he is. Oh, hold on, Joe, just a second. Okay, try now.
Okay. Can,
Yeah, good.
so I'd like to be able to share screen if that's possible.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, says I can't.
Please hold, we'll make sure you can. It's not what we need to actually write. Ah, there you go. Oh, that's what it is.
All right. It was requested that a group of us get together and figure out what might be possible with the 40 acres that was donated by Jerry Rabine in exchange for annexation of his property to the east into Three Rivers. That 40-acre section sits right here, outlined in the blue. Here's the rifle range, just for reference, and the little hill climb riding area is right up here. The property is fairly flat in this area right here, fairly steep over here, just like the bank of the rifle range, and somewhat steep over in this section. The group was put together by asking people to volunteer to participate. We had a really good team that worked on this. We met a couple of times to organize and talk about potential uses and develop a survey to be distributed to the landowners. The survey, we got 102 responses, which was awesome. We had listed a number of options that the committee had developed, and then asked for some open-ended feedback as well. The full survey is at the back of this report, and I assume everybody's gotten a copy of this to review ahead of time. The options were offered as a ranked choice survey. So in other words, of the 6 options, you select your first choice, second choice, third choice, fourth choice, etc. The archery range option was the most popular in terms of the ranked choice scoring. Additional ATV riding, long range rifle range, nature area for hiking, sediment pond, captured debris flowing off of the rifle range into the lake, and a developed bicycle motocross track. Like I said, the archery range was first choice. The BMX track was kind of last choice. There were a number of other suggestions mentioned once or twice, like a softball field, golf driving range, motocross track, and others, along with a number of suggestions just to leave it alone in its natural state. One interesting aspect of the survey is the ATV riding area garnered the most first choice votes as compared to any of the rest of them, but it didn't get very many second or third or fourth choice votes. So the archery range, based on the ranked choice, came in first place. So we evaluated all of the different options. The archery range obviously was first choice. It's quiet, relatively low cost. Some concerns about ATV incursion into the archery area, making sure downrange area doesn't create a risk. Additional ATV riding area, highly requested, gives ATVs options other than on roads, but again, safety, noise, especially to the adjacent residential property, which is what Rabine has left to develop as he can, up to 3 additional properties. Wouldn't be available during fire season, limits the use of the 40 acres for other purposes. Long range rifle range provides that long range option for the rifle shooters, but would require relocation of the road to the Rabine property, and that would be at association expense. Let me show you that on the map. So right now, access to Rabine's remaining property is via this road right here. If we set up a long range rifle range, which would basically be from this corner out to here, we very definitely need to relocate this road. And again, since this is now common area, it's the association's responsibility to do that. There are options to bring that road in like this. But again, that will be an expense that needs to be paid attention to. Nature area for hiking, again, quiet activity, low cost. Some concerns about incursion of ATVs into the area and risk of wandering into the rifle range. So there would have to be some security. Sediment pond capturing range debris. So we've got an ongoing issue there. The old targets and beer cans and whatever else that ends up in that lower portion of the rifle range especially tends to wash down into the lake during heavy rains. And so the gun club has been talking about how to mitigate that through some sort of a sediment pond or capture dam, just to solve that, so we're not sending our debris down into the lake. And we've heard from outsiders that that's a concern. BMX track, kid friendly, could create some liability. Ongoing maintenance would be somewhat expensive to develop. Do nothing was considered as well, no cost. Creates a nice buffer between the range and the ATV riding areas and such to the adjacent residential properties. It could end up getting used by ATVs by default, so it would require some level of enforcement to prevent that. So our recommendations, the group's recommendations are fourfold. One, move forward with the archery range. There are a number of people already willing to invest time and energy into developing it, and the Big Canyon Gun Club has said they would be happy to bring that activity under its umbrella, including the liability insurance and such that goes along with that. The other is to reserve 100 feet of the western border. I'll pull up a map here to show that. So it would be this 100 feet right here. For future expansion of the gun range, it could be adding additional shooting benches, or it could be to accommodate that long range rifle range if we can figure out a safe way to do that, and figure out how to pay for moving the road to this property. Retain this existing ATV riding area for now, because it's being used. There's no reason not to continue to do that, and then do that debris dam or pond to just be good neighbors to the rest of the region. So in terms of location, the archery range would be up in this area. The 100-foot reserve strip for the future gun range expansion would be here, and the debris dam or pond would be in this area. If you're interested in seeing more detail about the survey, it's on the last pages of the report. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Joe, this is Bill. I got, with the suggestion, first of all, fantastic report. Thank you to all of the committee for the time. I know you guys spent a lot of time on it. You came up with ideas and you talked to a lot of people about it. And you've had a lot of experiences, I know, over the years, dealing with things that come to the board and then come to the members. Do you think that this is a viable item, that if you put together a plan as described here, that we could get it as a ballot measure for the annual meeting?
So is the suggestion to have the membership vote on these recommendations?
Correct.
That's easy enough to do.
And given the way you have researched this, you feel, or do you feel that the membership has enough interest in it and will actually vote on it? Or did you see that I mean, you got 100+ inquiries, so that shows that there at least people were looking at it. What do you feel as far as interest in doing something with the 40 acres is?
Well, based on the folks that responded to the survey, obviously the archery range was the first priority based on ranked choice voting.
Right.
Additionally, ATV riding, while it was popular, we've got a lot of ATV riding area, and we've got a bunch of area that's underutilized, particularly around the gravel pit, that could be more developed into a variety of different things, like a motocross track or a BMX track. We've got the space for that. What we didn't want was to turn this into a ATV track and make the neighbors on this side have to deal with that noise. And that's why we opted for quieter kinds of activities like archery. That's pretty quiet. And maybe an expansion of the gun range, but the gun range is here already. That's just the way it is. But to add ATV riding in here on top of the gun range, that would be really disturbing to this property.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why we came up with these options. In terms of letting landowners vote on it, that's entirely your option. We can do an up or down vote on these 4 options, or we can do an up or down vote on each option individually. That's your choice.
Yeah, personally, you've worked really hard to get a plan together. I see it as a viable plan. So to me, it's more of a yes, no, than it is. If we start giving too many options, then it gets convoluted in what it would end up being. And you've given a survey. So if we could just get a plan for development and yes, no, if we get the majority saying no, then we know we have to relook at something. So
would that plan include a cost? Like, what is it gonna cost?
it would have to, yeah, because there would be development and maintenance, but that would have to be looked at, so.
A lot of it is really an archery range that is kind of like walking through the forest, finding your target and hitting it. And a lot of safeties will be set up.
Joe, your voice changed.
Well, that wasn't me. That was a committee member.
Okay. Second there, I wasn't sure what happened. Okay, thank you.
I had a question.
Sure.
In reading through this, it was awesome, very explanatory, but I was a little concerned down here in the 3rd question. It says it is a common area for deer and lions. I didn't know we had lions here. I'm like going, lion. Oh, God. I had a whole vision. Okay, thank you. What did I miss?
And will this report be part of the minutes? Will it be added to the minutes?
Yes. Okay, any other questions? Joe, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I will get back to you, because I think that we would need to develop this as a ballot measure, so that it has a presentation at the annual meeting.
So are we asking him to come up on these 4 suggestions with a cost on each one of them?
It'll be a developmental cost of that property there, and that won't be entirely Joe's issue. We'll use those and we'll work together to get I appreciate Joe's ability to write legislation that votes. So I would like to have him help with that as a committee. We can take that on.
Yeah, I think I'll largely turf this to the gun club.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that are gonna be instrumental in the archery range development. We'll let them come up with the costs and plans for that, as well as the debris collection. That's a gun club thing as well. The other two have no cost, so.
So you got really quiet.
Yeah, I know.
For us.
Can you hear me okay?
A little bit better.
Okay. Yeah, so the archery range, that and the debris pond, we'll just turf to the gun club to figure the costs out for that. They've already volunteered to do that. The other two have no cost, so it won't be much involved with that.
He's saying the gun club is gonna take over the cost of.
Yeah. Well, we just needed the preliminary information on what they found and where they wanted to go. We have that, so now we can move to the next step, and we'll just keep that as an ongoing ballot measure. Okay, so then we'll move on to communication.
The first bullet there is Prop T. I know it falls under communication in this meeting, but I'm gonna let Steve pick this up.
Sure.
Okay, should I do the report on the gate at the same time, Bill?
You might as well, because it's all old business that's falling under the same heading, so yep.
This could be, more questions at the end.
It could be, so please be concise.
Steve, do you want to switch places?
So that people on the phone can hear.
Speak up.
All right, so everybody can hear me. The system is operational. It's been operational for as far as software and QR codes, guest passes. But we have an additions, RFID tags are working. You can walk up there with a tag and open that gate. What's left with that is communicating with the owners and logging them into HOA Start. I'm looking at Michelle to with getting where I'm going with that is we have, let's just say 800 people in HOA Start and that same amount of number in Propia. And I just asked Michelle this morning, wouldn't it be twice that many people? Because we have 702 lots, pairs of people, and LLCs with multiple pairs and so on. It seems like there's a lot of people left, so just throw that in the background in your head. What is left to add people to the system so that you can give out passes and buy cards and buy RFID cards. A RFID tag is a windshield or headlight sticker, opens the gate automatically when you drive it up to it. The card is just like our old cards. You flash it in front of the reader and the card opens up. Our old cards will go away. They do not have a two verification system in them. They use operation to make them work. So when those cards are switched over to the new cards, the old cards will not work at all. And there's a lot of them not working anyway, as people have found out. Emergency services is working. Knock switch is installed and tested, working. All Jefferson County and our Lake Chinook Fire Department is aware of it. They also have a permanent code, will not go away. They can put in their number that they requested and open that gate with the touchpad. There is a third option for them. We can discuss that later. But they have two ways of getting this gate in. So all of the things that have happened so far would not even been possible without Michelle, Mary, ladies first. I don't know how they sleep or eat with all the hours that they put in. Ryan, I don't know how he gets anything done with working two different jobs, one here and one that he actually has to provide income for himself with. And then and they're not done yet. This is, like I just said, we have, I think, half again as many people And we have a lot of communication to put out there. So we have to go over that. I already told you about how many people are, I don't think are. We also have to go over things that are gonna come up. Some have already came up, holes in our, there's a hole in every program, every access gate community. Somebody can manipulate it, get in, whether they jump a fence or whether they go, I can look at this program and I can duplicate that as many times as I want. Things that we have to go over. So just information that we need to look at, and we will find even more down the road. One hole is associate residence. That was a switch. I'll back up just a little bit. PropTIA does more than just a landowner type of HOA. They do many different kinds of HOA systems. That switch was a on switch for a total different category, like a country club, not landowners. Landowners, that was supposed to be off. The communication between Kevin, who is the go-to guy for PropTIA, he said, nope, that can't happen, it's off. And Ryan had to prove to him that no, it is on. So what that does is all of the access that a landowner has, that landowner has been able to add an associate, and that associate can be anybody, because it's not looking for landowner. It could be kids that aren't owners, neighbors that aren't owners, and when that associate trigger is pulled, they have all the options that the landowner does. So if we thought that 3,000 was an outrageous number for permanent guest passes, just think about how many that could actually create. So we don't have the permanent guest pass, just to throw that in there. It actually is only 6 months at a time, has to be re-upped. To make it a year and a half, it has to be re-upped every 6 months. I like that option because it weeds out some that are just stagnant, just like those 3,000 of the old systems. We have up to 30 days for a temporary, but I believe people are hitting permanent, thinking that is permanent. It's not. It's not permanent. So communication on that. Communication from landowners. I've been at the gate a lot this week and previously. I'm not hearing any complaints. Excuse me, one complaint. When are we going to get rid of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Requests have been, when can I buy cards? When can I get this tags that I've heard about? So communication has been going out, and I mean, tags was never publicized, but everybody knows about them. It seems like they want tags. They want a lot of them. Well, we have to make sure that everybody knows the access to those tags. They cost money. So I'm letting people know that if they're not free and nobody has a problem, I haven't heard one problem about money. I've got 6 cars. I got 10 cars. Well, you know, all in your name and you drive them all, I guess you can buy that many tags, but that could cost you $300 to buy that many tags. So I'm not hearing a problem. The example is, I'm not hearing a problem about the money. I'm hearing things that they just want to get it done, and they want that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now on that subject, we can't possibly remove that at this time. We have the houseboat operation that will be finished after the holidays. That's just one thing. We have a lot of people that enter this gate in the mornings that use that code. We can see that when we look it up. And it really surprises me how many people are using that code. It makes me wonder, are we just, since there's a code up there, are we not wanting to go in and actually download PropTIA? Maybe they don't know how yet. But it's a lot easier just to hit that code every morning, at 6 a.m. And a lot of evening ones, 11, 12 o'clock PMs, using that code to get in. So, we got to get people communicated with it, and I would suggest leaving it until after this last holiday. But at the same time, that means we really need to initiate our new system. So I told you about holes, told you my opinion. Question and answer time.
Question. You said 30 days for temporary permits, and I thought we had discussion on the board and came up with a number like half that.
We're actually settled it to 10. It was 10 days, but the machine or the program is set at 30. We have to tell Jason, one of the brothers, we have to tell them what we want. So
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
yeah, we just have it completed.
I have so I got a little bit of information on that. So that I have a request into Elite Electric and Proptia. That might take a new module, expensive module, but take a new module.
To change.
Another addition. It's a, you know, every module makes us be able to have access to certain things that we want to change. So a module is something that we can have to manipulate those days.
So like I'm looking at the code structure now, we have a permanent code, 180 days. A one-time guest, 1 day, a one vendor pass, 1 day, an event pass, 1 day, and then a permanent vendor, 365 days, and a temp guest max 30 days. So you're telling.
So all of those can be changed with whoever's giving them out. So the module will make it so that you can stop it.
Hold tight. What I'm asking is, like the temp guest, Tom is saying we had, as a board, discussed 10 days. Are you saying it's a new module to make a change from this 30 days to a 10 days?
Yes, because the program is allowing 30 days. It's not us allowing 30 days. We can't turn off 30 days without the possibility of having to purchase an extra piece of module. It's a program. It's a program fee. Not an expensive program fee. Might be just a few $100s.
We can set the day limit. All the day limits are customizable, but they blanket everyone that selects it. The new module will allow you to go in and say, this group can have these selections and this group can have these selections. But the current setting is everyone has these selections, period. Only thing we change is, do you want everyone to only have 1 day? Do you want everyone to only have 30 day? Do you want everyone to only have 180? Do you want everyone to only have 360? Do you want everyone to have all of these options? So on and so forth.
Is that a one-time programming, you know, you buy the module?
No,
or is that a
we
monthly
have
thing?
those features that we currently have that just labeled off.
Right.
We have that ability. The only thing that we would purchase on top of is if we group. If we go in and group, like say for example, like you brought up the houseboats. If we want to force that group into only having these options and not seeing the other options, that's where the new module would come in.
Are those generally monthly fees, or is that just like a one-time? Good
I
deal?
honestly don't know, but I think it would be a monthly on top of our current recurring fee. So the way the system works is Proptia is the name, and then whatever options you want are just modules. And so as you add the module increases in cost, we're looking to add that additional module.
Personally, I think it'd be worth looking into, because I think it gives the board a lot more flexibility, because we may find that, you know, 10 days is too much or not enough, and, you know, and just to be able to be reactive to.
If we make that choice, which one of you do we have look into that, get the price on it, so we can get it part of the speed? Just
I have that question to be answered, and what you just read off, very important. The houseboats are definitely very important. Right now, just look at the fact that he could put it for a year.
So
Okay.
I have a
Yeah.
question or concern. So I went to the Proptia training, and the girls did a fabulous job. And I have been in contact with Mary personally, and the QR code is not working.
No.
It is not working. It hasn't worked. I've made it bigger. I've made it smaller. It's not working.
It worked for me this morning. I'll go out with you and we can take a look at
Because
it.
Mary, I even had Mary, I mean, she did it with me in person.
But we found if you cover the screen,
I've tried everything.
Okay,
I've tried to put
okay.
it close, up, down,
Yeah,
left,
yeah,
right, back,
yeah.
down.
He's got an
Also
answer.
your cell phone, your brain, your cell phone.
This is
Have
right.
the answer.
Yeah.
Okay, Meg.
Our family's been able to use them in all.
Meg, hey, oh, hang on. I got two on the floor.
Mary
Mary.
has the answer too.
Okay, one of the things that I suggested to everybody is it always works if you print the copy. We've not heard anybody have a failure if they have a printed copy that's basically 4 by 6, so, that kind of size, and then it works. My cell phone works sometimes, but again, I'm going like this, and I know I can do that and make it work. I just printed a copy, it works every time. So I would suggest you do that.
Okay.
And I mean, I know the cell phone's convenient, but that really, and I just take mine to the old card because my card doesn't work. And I just throw it up there, it works like it's a champ.
Okay.
Might want to say that to everybody.
Yeah.
Also, some of the early ones had a hiccup, so just.
Well, this was out the class.
Yeah.
Again, make something.
Steve, Dave.
Just Mary kind of hit on it there. You get it printed. I've seen many of them come through the gate, exactly what you said, Mary, where they have it taped right onto their old card. They just hold it right up there and every one of them gets through.
Well, I can't tape it to my card because my card works. So
Your card-
But you
You're
can't,
lucky.
you can't tape it to your card because
Yeah.
your card, you just throw it up there and
Yeah.
it works. If you put a piece of paper over it, it's not gonna affect that.
It's still gonna work.
It'll still
Okay.
work. It'll
Yeah.
still
Still
I know,
working.
so I won't know if the QR code works.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because the card will open.
If you hold your QR
Hold
code
on.
away from that card reader, it will work.
Okay, we'll work with Megan. There's Con. Or no, gentlemen.
Kevin,
Kevin.
Lloyd, I got a question. Why are we going to 10 days? I have family members that come up here all summer. So every 10 days I have to go through, read up their thing. Why are we going to?
That's just.
My understanding, we have 4 permanent codes, correct?
that's
So
a
2 of
dis-
them, he has one, I have one. That allows me 2 for my family. So I'm just wondering why we're going to 10 days.
It's not all, I don't think it's all of them, is it, Karen, that we're gonna go to 10 days for every.
it's a whole board discussion and a decision, so
That's what I was understanding you saying, it's going to from 30 days to 10 days.
that was a discussion and a motion. I couldn't find it in the minutes. I was thinking it was when we did work at the other. We voted exactly, but I think it was, I couldn't find it. So, but I know we did it. You made the motion. But also like the permanent codes, all of these have to be a motion and brought forward to this board to vote on. So everything's very, very put out. So whether we have 4 permanent codes or not, that's still up for discussion within this board and this meeting.
Give you a little bit more information. A permanent code is a lot safer than an associate.
But I'm just saying,
Yeah, and I'm
there's
just
a
giving you, I'm just.
lot of
I'm just giving-
decisions that need to be made here that the board is responsible for.
And exactly, that's why I'm giving you
Yeah,
information.
yeah.
So an associate, what I'm getting at, there shouldn't be an associate at all, because it is, you don't need it. One, a husband and wife team. The husband and wife should have their own login, their own system, so they can do it themselves. And it was obviously found out by many people that, hey, let's push that associate button when it's turned on. No, they'll just make my wife and, 14 other people an associate. That's not safe at all.
Okay.
So I want to just add, the old system
Exactly.
You only got one person that got to log in. You did not get husband, wife, sister, brother, uncle, niece, and nephew. So what you just said about you should have husband and wife should have logins, not correct.
Well, I'm not saying
One
should.
person.
I'm not saying should.
I know,
I'm just
but
saying-
one person, and that is where that associate resident allows you to connect to people. So we get a lot of questions about that. Which people get to come in, which do we get to do? And we've been saying deeded owners get the access, deeded owners, deeded dues paying owners. So we added the word dues paying because of LLCs and things like that. So the dues paying is the important part. If they're paying dues, they should have access to. So when you go to that level, then you get, I have a individual that has been a little aggressive in sending us messages, and then come to find out he's not even a deeded owner. His dad is a deeded owner, and so he feels entitled that he should have access because his dad gave him a card to scan an outing. That's fantastic that that was a decision the family made, but that is something that we're gonna challenge. We're gonna get challenged on this system, on any other system we went with, which will help kind of wrapping back to when you talk about those expiration dates. We wanted more security. This system is like one-upping that security and saying your codes are canceled. We just got to find that sweet spot of what is the length, how long is it, who actually gets access. Because what we also saw in the IBM system is people just shared those. They just shared it. They shared logins. They shared all the things. So a way of keeping a little bit of control over that is by having associated residents, because then you can actually see. They're less likely to just share their email, and they're just gonna make somebody, well, hey, I'm gonna give permission to my spouse to actually log in and give people, or my kiddo, that's always the one that's up there, they can log in and give people access to it. Especially as we hear over and over and over and over and over, my parents don't even come up here anymore. This is my family's property, so I think there's a lot to it.
Well, and IBAM was, if we always put the deeded owner's name on there, but they could change it, change their login name, but it was allowed to have members. So that deeded owner had members. So that member could get guest passes. They didn't have any other access, but be able to get guest passes because Jeff my husband never ever got on the computer for that. I did all the guest passes. Both of our names were on that deed but I did all the work. But it was set up in his name. So there's those kinds of things. So people are used to having associate members. What my concern is with associate members is, can we cut off their access? Okay, so great.
It's on or off. Period.
Okay, well, we didn't know that, so we either have to, then we have a dilemma here.
We do and we don't.
Okay.
The bottom line is, at least in my little world, that landowners are responsible for their guests, right? I've got the same scenario. I've got a son that wants to come up here all the time, and he wants to bring friends, and I want to know who's up here. Okay, because ultimately, if something goes south, everybody's going to be pointing the finger at me. And I went through the Proptia thing for the first time and set up, guest passes because I had a bunch of people up this week. It wasn't difficult. I figured it out on my own. I didn't go to class. I'm like, okay, boom, boom, boom. They're there. I think it said save. So I don't know if they disappear, because it is convenient to have, if somebody wants to come back up, just to be able to change their dates because we already have the license plate. I don't think it's a huge ask for anybody to have to go into a system that's built for convenience to update every 10 days so that we don't have a million people in here that we don't know who they are or have unlimited opportunity to come in. That's really, I think, what the consensus was from the board, that it's not an arduous task to go in and spend 5 minutes updating a visitor pass, and I know who's up here. I don't know.
Yeah, that's it. So just to recap, so I'm not trying to
Right.
tell the board what to do at all. I'm giving you information so. You
No,
can
no,
make
no,
a
I
decision.
get that.
And I'm just letting you know that there's holes. The last hole is, we just talked about printing the QR code. Okay. Thank God they expire because you can print as many as you want. So there's a hole. So think about that. So all the decisions you make, just there's gonna be some more holes show up, especially coming up this weekend. So, think about all those.
Steve, that we had before.
Yes, exactly.
The guest passes, you could print as many as you want.
But the benefit is that they expire with this system.
Yeah, correct.
They expire with the old system.
Correct. We did not have that
I think there was
expiration.
a question in the back.
I was just gonna say, if the feature is available that you can change the date for someone coming up to the property, but 30 days is an option. Landowners who have concerns about who's up at their property should be taking advantage and adjusting that date to say, oh, you're only gonna be able to use this code for this weekend. But people who have extended family who come up
So like
all
my
summer
sister
long,
comes up all summer.
but she lives
It's
in
nice to be able to
Wisconsin,
set a longer, she's here for a
longer
month.
code for her to not have to
Where
constantly.
then, and then when we only have guests up, we set the code for the weekend, just Thursday through Sunday. So it just makes it an easier process if you have more choices. And the harder you make the process for people,
The
the
more
more they're gonna take advantage of those holes you just mentioned. Because if it's difficult, then people just say, well, I'm gonna go around it and print more QR codes.
Okay. Comment?
Wasn't it in the bylaws or somewhere that if you had guests up here, you had to have a property owner here for that guest of any kind to be here?
Yes.
Isn't that still
No.
no? You didn't have anybody up here without you being here?
You're responsible.
You're still responsible. You're still responsible as the property owner, but
Yeah,
you're the
but
one
you don't-
giving them access.
Right. That's why we don't have toilets anymore down at the lake. Yeah, we gotta pay for them now. They used to be free.
Any other comment?
I just want to comment on the 10-day thing. I think 10-day personally is not enough. If you count a 3-day weekend in the summertime, take 4th of July, and people are gonna tie that up. If it falls on a Friday or a Monday, they're gonna tie that. They'll probably be showing up on Thursday and stay through the following Sunday, so you run past your 10 days. So I think the 10-day might be, might wanna look at a 14-day, if that's what you wanna look at. But I think at 10 days, you're gonna be making something.
I'm open to a little bit on either end, but I
Yeah.
just don't wanna open up the floodgates at, at a month.
Well, that's where talking about flipping this switch here and not making this associate thing, because that can be handed down.
The beauty is if we can get that additional module or whatever, we can test it. And if we get pushed back or it's too inconvenient, then Ryan and his team can make the necessary adjustments, and we're not locked into that.
Yeah, so much more versatility with this, that this is the whole thing, so. Okay, Steve, it's done, so Ryan, you wanna?
Yes, I'm gonna try to answer some of what you brought up along with some of what Kevin brought up. I do believe that whenever you go to add a temp pass, you can set the dates. As in, if someone's coming up here in a month, you don't have to wait till that day comes to give them it.
No, you don't.
So there does, if you do set 5, 10, 130, 160, you can put that date in the window. So just be mindful of that customization. Kevin, you were mentioning that for permanent passes is what it's set up to. That can be changed, can be lowered, it can be increased. But and you were mentioning that giving out your family and people who actually live here full time those permanent passes. The thing that I've been mentioning to people is that the RFID tags and the cards would be part of that solution, but they're optional. We're not forcing anybody to buy anything, we're gonna revert back to the 2 cards per dues paying deeded owner situation. And then RFID tags currently, unless we change this, have no limit, but they have to be purchased by deeded dues paying owner match 2 registrations, so you can't come in as a deeded owner and say, I need 20, because I'm gonna give them to 20 people. Because then again, we're back to floodgates. To the associate resident thing, just like Michelle was mentioning, the ways to add other people, it's not a matter of saying no one can be associated, because if we give, what we've done is given out 1 deeded owner access, but you have 2 deeded owners, husband and wife, for example, it can be manually inserted. The problem that we saw initially was when it was on unbeknownst to us, is that landowners could go in and add whoever they wanted with no limit. I mean, literally no limit. It took 1 week for 150 people to be added to that by people outside of our control. And that's why the decision was made that it needed to be off in the first place. We thought it was off, but we did not realize it. I actually realized that in a training after the fact. So if you think 150 in 1 week, imagine how many people will be on that list in 1 year. That would be an instant loophole. To back to what Tom said, that anybody, he could give it to his son, and his son, I hope he trusts his son, but maybe he doesn't. I don't know. His son could do whatever he wanted. And with an unlimited number of temporary codes, his son could give passes to everyone on planet Earth. So I just want to put that in perspective of these features that we have and how they relate. There's a list up there. It may or may not cover what we currently know, but just like Steve has mentioned, we are poking the bear, trying to figure out when the bear's ready to take a bite. And then we go, okay, that didn't work. And then we kind of fix it, or try to fix it, or discuss fixing it.
So, just so I get this, if we get rid of associate residents, then we had a guy that says, I have 7 children. Let me back up. So there would only be, if we get rid of associate residents, it would only be the deeded owner that would have access.
You're not getting rid of associate residents, you're getting rid of the landowner's ability to add them. The admin can add them.
The admin can add them.
Go in there and say, okay, you're the deeded owner of access, but you're the husband, but your wife is also on the deed. I will manually insert you. Now husband and wife deeded owners get into Proptia and can generate the codes for all their children, all their guests, all their friends, all their family. But they have, at the end of the day, they're responsible for those people, and they're the ones doing that responsibility checking and being.
So if it's a husband and wife, they could both have access. But what if it's only one person on the deed? Can they give somebody else an associate? I mean,
they can't do anything.
No, I mean, can we manually add somebody else to, let's say Eric Gritzmacher was a single person in here. Could he have his girlfriend come in? Could we add the girlfriend to that for him, even though they're not on the deed?
Well, there's 7 of us here to make that decision, because the associate resident tab will never go away. It's how the associates get inputted in. So if we say
not giving access to landowners.
Yeah.
We're just not giving associate resident access to landowners to set up their own. That's what you want to get rid of.
No, that's what's currently off, but was on for a temporary amount of time.
Right.
So just like the bullet below, LLC trust access. So you could tie it to that, because where do we draw the line on who can go and download Proptia, log in and give out a pass? Because if I'm a deeded owner and I say, hey, new friend, you want to be able to download Proptia and give your own passes to whoever you want because I have no control other than kind of seeing what you're doing, they could do that if I manually go in there and add them to an associate resident. But with the tab off now, the deeded owner cannot do that, only admin can do that.
That's what I needed. Thank you. Thank you.
Karen, I think part of your question though was, if someone is to come in to go to admin, whatever route they take to get there, and says, I am Betty Boop and I am Mickey Mouse's girlfriend, and he says I can have access through an associate resident, even though I'm nowhere on a deed, is the admin staff allowed to do that?
That's a great question.
In my opinion, 1 of 7 is that no. We've stuck to deeded owners access to HOA start. We have no voted on deeded access owners to Proptia. We have discussed it. And we carried the notion that it would mirror, but that's why LLC and trust access is kind of put up there is, do we assign, you know, the one person to the LLC, to the trust? It's been mentioned about, we don't allow temporary Airbnb type situations, transit rentals as they are called, but we do allow leases. So then you get into, do we allow someone to write someone's friend's name on a napkin and hand to the office and say, my buddy's leasing this place? Or do we have to have a notarized letter and, you know, commitment to, what's the lease term, a year?
A year, yeah, yeah.
So if someone
yeah.
leases for a year, do we say, okay, that satisfies these terms, we now do or do not grant access to that person?
So
we need the work rules. You know,
thank you,
I mean,
yeah.
we need a
yeah,
SOPs
yeah.
for these types of changes.
Yeah.
And if there's a question, then at the office, and I think it gets deferred to Karen or you know, somebody that, because every SOP, there's.
That's what we've been trying to do, is to come up with an SOP.
Because we need to be the same for everybody, or we're gonna.
Could
go
you,
on.
Mary and I sit down and process through those SOPs?
I can speak for me, but I won't speak for Mary, but I think we probably could. I know Mary's done a lot of them.
Right.
But we haven't got into granular what you're talking about.
Let's, I think we really need to go to deeded owners, because that's what our bylaws say. And that when, especially when it comes to like LLCs, we have one person that can speak for that LLC. And I think we need to go back to that. So I think those are,
okay,
they're big steps, and they need to be.
So then is the thought that the three of us will get together, kind of map things out, bring it for the next board meeting to be approved?
well, yeah, let's, there are some guidelines that need to come that we'd like to get decided on today that will help create that SOP, but I think there's some guidelines we've got to talk about. Just a moment, Steve, you have.
This is the LLC. I'm going backwards to Karen's example with the have a emergency access, and that is not in our rules that, you know, I could have one. So the answer or the whole, is that I get two cards. I'm all by myself. This guy is all by himself. He has a girlfriend. That second card to the girlfriend or my.
So if you're entitled to two cards, then you can give them to whoever you want, because you're still responsible. So
That's the answer without a hole? Without creating a hole?
I don't think, well, there's 700 private lots up here, and our job, I think, is to figure out how to get these people to those places based on our rules. I don't know,
Yeah, I think it's an answer personally.
But so tell me what you think. Honestly, I'm missing what you're asking.
The fellow has two cards and he's wants his girlfriend, so, you know, this girlfriend could have one of the cards. I am by myself and I get to go to the hospital yearly, so, by ambulance. So I wanted access for my son. He is my executor, if I go, and he needs access, so I want to give him a card.
Sure.
Then it's done.
Right.
So
People do that now.
it's a fix, in my opinion, to your answer. Doesn't need to be an associate.
Correct.
Follow our
I get it.
rules.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
follow our
right.
rules, right?
Right.
Landowners only.
All right, we can get through that. So moving on. The reason that I kind of stopped you, Michelle, on what was doing, I do want to ask Ryan and with Steve, it's always, you don't really want to ask him too much because the answer is. What in this meeting today that we can put up in motions, because Karen is concerned about motions, that you feel we need to do now? I know there are several things that have gone over. I know they want to create a standard operating procedure that can go by But I think there's certain things that you feel we need to do, and I would really like to get those to the forefront today. And if we're gonna vote on them, I'd like to get the motions, even if it's a line by line item, get those done. So if you have that, now's the window.
Communication is the next step, and we have to get an okay for communication and setting up an actual flyer like you and I.
No, we don't have to do that. That's not what we're worried about. There, Ryan has come up with, there's criteria that requires a vote. Karen is looking for votes, and the same question could be posed to Karen. What do we need to vote on here to keep this process going? Because we can't keep going from month to month meetings. There's too far apart. We got to get this thing going and get it down the road. And
So if we just go through the passes, let's talk about, the first one is permanent, 180 days slash, so it's 180 days. It's called a permanent pass, says 180 days, but it's good for 365. I guess it renews in 180 days, Steve, is that correct?
You probably shouldn't even talk about that until we find out about this module, the extra module to manipulate it.
Or when we can buy the cards.
So that was where my next thing was to go, is make your vote decision when you and I talk, Karen, about costs and selling cards. They're ready to go. The cards and the tags are ready to go. They work. I will tell you one little thing because I might forget it. When we download a tag or download a new card, it is not immediate. It is like a 15-minute delay to test that card. And that's because our system goes to Proptia, and then Proptia goes back to us, and then it's in our system and the system works. So there was a wait period on our test system for each thing, whether it was a card or a tag, of about 10 to 15 minutes. And it also costs us money every time a card or tag is entered. Proptia charges us money for that. So you might want to talk about dollars for each. It has been discussed before for certain numbers.
Do you have costs?
To make it so that we don't lose money, you would have to sell the tags for we don't sell them for that much, they will cost us, because that would include the fee for being loaded into Proptia. So, and I've actually kind of thrown a number out to people like that when I'm asking or answering their question, because they're very ready to go. And I said, this could cost you $50 or $100, if you want double of everything. And they're like, I don't care. The last one was just.
well, you also have to understand that the landowner, does not have to have a card or does not have to have an RFID tag. All the landowner has to have is a phone to get in. Because they can sign up, it's free, you get the app, you put it on there, and you have your ability to get it.
No one's forcing them spending that money.
Yeah, nobody's forcing it to buy. Bob, you had a comment?
Yeah, on the cards itself, shouldn't that be an HOA expenditure for the landowners? I mean, I can understand the ones that go on the windshield and stuff, that's if you want one. But a card, we're supposed to have 2 per lot anyway. So shouldn't that be part of the HOA expenditures to the landowners?
We had to
I
buy
mean, why would the
cards.
landowners?
We had to buy the cards originally.
No, I didn't.
already paid? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I had to pay $50 fees. You got lucky.
I think the expenditure is in the software, right? That enables use on the phone or print off.
Old card or software.
I'll throw one more thing in there, Bill knows about it, but it'll be quick. The Elite Electric is zero financing us for half of this $30,000+ operation. So this is a way to pay them back. We sell this back, we take our money, the 30 or the 10, we just give it to Elite to pay our bill. I'm sure he's not gonna wanna hang on to it for 10 years. He probably wants to get paid quickly.
And that's an option. I think what Steve wants you to get out of that is this isn't a profit-making scheme on selling the RFID tags or selling the cards. We're just recovering costs which have to go out in order to keep the system going. And that's some of the discussion that we have to have. What comes free, what has to get charged for, how much that charge is gonna go to. That's what I'm asking now. That's what I want to kind of get on the table, so that if we need to make motions, we need to do it now. If we need to wait, we need to wait. I just want to keep it going. Okay, so, go ahead.
Okay, I can make one motion right now. I'd like to make a motion that the number of permanent codes per property is maximum 4.
Second.
Ryan motion and Tom seconded. Discussion.
That excludes LLCs.
It'll be 4 for see, this is where we don't have customization. Maybe I'll get it back if we buy the additional module. But you can only do 4 for property. Software doesn't allow you to do anything else.
No discussion. Roll call.
Karen?
No.
Yes.
Rob? Cory?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Okay. That takes care of that, so we got 4, that's part of the SOP information.
I make a motion about the price. Do need a motion for the price of like the cards and the.
Correct, we
RFID
can do
tags.
that. Also, I
Did we
think,
do the RFID tag price already?
$30.
We agreed at
it's
30.
$30, yeah, it is 30. Sorry, Logan. Right.
But not the card.
Of the
Yeah,
card.
the card
Right.
didn't have anything.
Right.
I think if somebody would like to create a motion about getting the additional software, I don't know how we would title that.
So let's do this. I'd like to make a motion that the number of temporary codes per property is unlimited.
Okay, motion on the floor.
Second.
A second?
I got a second.
Yeah, Morgan.
Okay, thank you. Discussion?
What would prevent a landowner from having a mini Sturgis here if we had an unlimited number of passes?
They did that, so let me ask, can I ask, what prevented them before from doing that? Maybe that helps us inform this decision.
Yeah, outhouses are plenty. I don't know, but.
There was no
But it-
limit.
There was no
But
limit
it
before.
seems
Never
to.
been a limit. We've never limited.
But
Okay,
good
so
question,
when-
good question.
So someone could literally,
Okay, so nobody can
Can you
hear
legally do
when
that,
everybody
though?
talks, so we have to have one person talking, because even all the small conversations, you can't hear on them.
Can we legally limit that?
That would be
I
a
don't know.
question I'd have to ask Kevin.
Yeah.
I would say no, because the property owners can do, it's their property. They can let in however, and we have weddings, we have family gatherings, we've never had a limit, so
Well, they're
I feel
personally
it's.
responsible. They're personally responsible, right? So that 50 people, and you're responsible for those 50 people.
yeah, I don't have that many friends.
Okay, any further discussion? Right, hearing none, we'll vote.
Karen?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
I'm a yes.
And then we'll go.
Okay,
I'd like to make a motion that the associate residence feature is not accessible by landowner.
I'll second that.
and it is now,
It is currently not.
okay, and we're gonna keep it that way.
Keep it that way.
Okay.
Brian, what was that again, your motion?
The motion was that the associate residence feature is not accessible by landowners.
Only to admin, correct?
Correct, only to admin, people with admin rights, so yeah.
Just closes that loophole for people that.
Okay, I just didn't really understand what you were saying.
Second?
Second.
Yes,
Yeah,
okay.
yep.
Any discussion? I'm trying to write at the same time.
Ditto.
I'm over here by the secretary, he's just burning up a pen. All right, hearing none, roll call.
Karen,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Rob. Morgan,
Aye.
Ryan,
Yes.
no, yes.
Anything else?
I'd like to go on the LLC, but I'm still a little hazy, so I don't know if I'm the right person to make it. So the LLC trust access and then,
The issue that we've handled before on LLCs, and it's always been a problem, but within the state of Oregon, when you file with the Secretary of State, there has to be an administrator to the LLC or the corporation, whatever. So there is, that person is the one we have in the past deemed to be the person who could access that. Now, the problem that we come to that is that in some LLCs, the attorney for the LLC becomes the
administrator.
manager. So, and the attorney doesn't want to do it. We've had that come up a couple of times, and that puts that into it.
Or we have equal managers.
And we did have equal managers as well. So, yeah, it gets to be, it's a tough one.
So that's why we've gone to that only when you come in and you buy the property under your LLC, one person puts in as the person that speaks.
Right.
And that's what we've done. That's been our basic model for the last several years, is only one person speaks.
And that could be the SOP that we have to follow.
Yes, yeah.
And we could just have a simple, voting trust agreement. It's a 50-50 LLC, which I don't know which attorney would ever let somebody do that.
Yeah.
The stupidest thing I've ever heard of. But we could ask for a document that 50-50 partnership shows needs to the other one. And then,
There's going to be individual exceptions.
That's all recorded.
I guess the lease would be, so until we satisfy the LLC trust issue down the road, the lease issue would be the remaining one. So, again, a little hazy, but what legal paperwork needs to be shown to the association that someone is in fact legally leasing something versus just something written on a napkin just to get access?
A copy of the lease.
A copy of the lease.
Okay,
Absolutely.
appropriate lease agreement.
Right.
Okay, so I guess the motion would be to grant access to Proptia with proof of a legal lease agreement,
1 year.
1 year lease agreement.
When you're legal.
Hold tight. We got too many. When we're in the middle of a motion, let's.
Yeah.
Okay, would you please restate grant access? So truly, we have not allowed, we've only got a couple leases that are happening within our association. They don't have any rights to anything unless the property owner gives it to them. So that they can't vote, they can't anything. So giving them access to Proptia to invite friends in.
So the landowner, lessee would need to go to landowner to say, I want these guests to come to the property on this weekend. Can you?
That's how it is now.
That's the way it works.
Yeah, that's how it is now. So,
that happens, that isn't something that happens a lot.
No.
And I think we can stay in control of it, but the landowner at the end we have to draw the line at the landowner being the person who is, even though they've leased it, they're still the landowner.
And you can get in a situation, especially in the state of Oregon, you can lease a property for a year and then getting you off could take 2 years.
Yeah.
Right, so the landowner's gotta, retain control of it.
Exactly. So I'm not sure that we need, that leasers need access to Protea.
So so let's say this then. I'd like to make a motion that those under, those properties who have lessees do, I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Lessee is what.
Lessees, are not granted access to Protea, will not be granted access to Protea.
That would be correct. Yes, that would be correct.
I'll second.
Tom seconds. All right. Any discussion?
There's a question in the back.
Yes.
Are we not concerned in that case that those PCs will then just take advantage of the QR code if they're not granted access? And so they'll just print the extra QR code and you get their guests in that way? Or if they had access, we would at least know who their guests were.
They won't have.
They will have access.
So we're saying if they did.
But they won't have access, so in order to get around that, when they want to have a guest up to the property, they'll just print out a QR code. Like you guys were talking about with the QR code, you can just print it out. If you limit things, it makes it so that they can go around, they'll find the loopholes and take advantage of them. Where if they had access, I'm just giving my opinion, you guys can vote whatever you want, but if they have access to it, then we can at least see who their guests are and have a little more control that way. As opposed to if we limit it and don't allow them to, they'll find loopholes and print the QR codes and, things like that. It used to be only one code could get you in until it went out. It's not like that.
Who's going to give them the code?
Landowners that don't want to take.
Well, they're gonna give it to their
lease
leasing.
it out, they can now just say, hey, I'm giving you a permanent pass, I'm giving you an RFID, I'm giving you a card. There's other things they can get around.
Owners of the property who lease it. Lessee.
Well, it kind of circles back to the argument of the permanent and temporary passes and the fact that they do get deleted or they have to be reissued. It's kind of your managing point on top of, there's some features in there, and this may be usable or not, but with one term I use a lot is spot checking, is seeing who actually is using those codes. The system will tell you these codes are being used a lot. You can, every time someone goes up there and scans a QR code or types a code, wrong code, right code, any of those things, they will take a snapshot of the person doing it. They will store it for 6 years and we can pull the person up doing it.
So if the leasee did do that, make a copy of the QR code, we could see that his code was being used at the time.
Abused.
And then all of a sudden like, hey, why is this guy using
You
the
can
code?
turn it off, you can delete it, you can keep doing it. And yes, this is where management comes into play. The new software
That was just
allows,
my concern, is
yeah.
that the more you limit people, unfortunately, the more they take.
Yeah. And fortunately, with the new software being the quality it is, we can see all these things and have all of these features to manage better. Where the old system, once the codes got generated and were being used, it was pretty much off the table. And looking forward in the future, we don't have the feature now, but we're looking to budget it for 2025, is the license plate reader, not to open and close the gate, but to read rear license plates on entry. And it will literally match the vehicle to the code. It will say red car at least. It'll say color on its own. It'll pick a color and assign it. It'll say car type and try to the best it can. License plate number, and then code number, and then property owner.
Things like that, would make it harder, obviously, for this.
Okay.
We can address that
Yes.
situation in rules and regs.
Yes. We have a motion then on the floor.
Who seconded?
Then Tom.
Tom did.
I'm seconding everything.
Yeah. Second.
Between him and Morgan, they're seconding everything.
Any further discussion from the board? All right, hearing none, we'll vote. Karen?
Yes.
Tom?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
Morgan?
Aye.
Brian? No, yes. Okay. Well, we've moved through that list. Are we?
Price on the cards?
Jake, Hagan.
Price on the cards, motion for price on the cards. Because we got the.
Right, we can definitely put a motion, but we do have a question has brought up the concern about the cards being free. Now, I went through the bylaws yesterday, and the issuance of the cards got dropped from the bylaws in 2016. But I believe it's still in the it's still there, that we're supposed to get those. So I'd like to hold off on doing something on the cards until we know for sure what's it. Because if there was, I got to go back through the minutes. I didn't have time. I got to go back through the minutes and find out what was actually voted on there.
Can we just bump the RFID sticker?
Yes.
by $10?
Mary?
If we want a card and we're willing to pay for it, can we move forward?
Yeah, that's what I
Paying for it and do
Yeah.
it? And we'll just pay the $10 and that's it.
That works. And that, but suffice it to say, every landowner will get the new cards somehow, either buy it or pick it. Okay?
No, I thought you said that they don't have to buy a card.
They don't.
They don't want to, so you can make a motion that says any landowner that wants to buy can, you can finish that.
But the landowner may not have to buy the car.
But that doesn't need to be a motion.
Get one. They should be able to get one without having to buy one.
Okay, hold on. We've got it already covered, so that would be covered under what the existing standing on the card is now. It's the cost that would be involved. We haven't determined that yet, so we will move on.
This
Yes,
isn't just a discussion point. I think in HOA start, we could add products like the RFID tag, the card, the combo special maybe.
Yep.
If you could purchase from their home, whatever they.
all those things. The important thing that I see is we've got to get the information out to all of the landowners directly, face-to-face, email, website, anything we possibly can. Steve's working on that we can get in front of them and say, hey, this is what has to happen because the gate needs to change. We need to get that.
Related to this, is there a plan for like Labor Day with like maybe a multi-stage process cones along?
Steve has already covered that.
All right, cool.
We're having a 3RW meeting, right?
Today at 1.
1 o'clock, so that will be. Thank you.
I will say, sorry, Karen, but Steve Ryan's worked his ass off with it. Steve's working on this gate really hard and trying to get it through. So he's taking the bullets and running with it. So that's okay.
So
Yes.
we're not doing the card, we're not gonna do the motion on the cards because.
I don't know if we have to give them away.
We have to have a whole,
They have to go through the.
What, I don't understand, you already have access to get to the gate, you do not have to buy the card. That card is an option, so if you want to purchase the card, you can purchase the card. So I don't know why we are not voting on this card.
What makes it an option? I mean, when we bought land, we got 2 cards per lot.
We're not locking you out of your property, Bob, you still have access to your property.
I'm just saying we shouldn't have to buy them.
You don't have to, you don't have to buy.
No, we should have them without having to buy them. Is
So
what
I
I'm saying.
think we're not voting, Dave, because Bill just wants to confirm with the bylaws, make sure we're not violating the bylaws on behalf of the landowners. So
We'll make that work.
what we do need is the temporary guest pass max. It says 30 days. Did we agree
We
to
can't
that?
change it until.
We can't change it.
No, we can, it's currently set to 30. I don't know, can we put like 29 or is it in blocks of like 5s? I don't know that part.
I would check, but it's mess you up.
I just know that if we wanted to go from 30 to 15, we definitely could right this second. If we wanted to go to only 1 day, we could do that right this second. If we wanted to go to only 1 time, we could do that right this second. It's the window what we put in there, but everyone gets it equally.
You can't customize.
Correct. If you log into Frontier right now, you will see what your neighbor sees, period. Yeah,
We can't customize it until we look at another module.
correct.
Correct, okay. So what do we want to do a temporary guest pass as? 30 days or shorter?
Mary had,
There's people,
I just want to make a comment. I just tried on my iPad and it does not appear even at the browser level that you can extend the date. Once it expired, you could do it before it expires. You could move it out, but once it expires, you can't get back into that thing. So if somebody asked that earlier, if they can build it out and they go back and reactivate it, no, you cannot.
So you have to put the
As
all.
of right now.
information in.
Is there maybe?
So I don't know if that changes the
Okay, yeah.
discussion, that's all I
I see what
want
you're
to say.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the two avenues are permanent temp, so permanent length, we're set to 180. Temp length, we're set to options of 30 and 1.
Jim, you had a question?
I sell cheap parts sometimes. I have people come in and I only want them to have a 1 day. But I have a guy that comes up and works for me like 2 or 3 times a week. And I want him to have a code to be able to get in all the time. But if you're saying, if you give him a code that only works for 1 day, that's for everybody?
No.
No, that's
You
not.
select your options.
You can select.
I
how
can
long
do
you-
one person for 1 day.
Yeah.
And I can do another person for 30 days.
Yes.
Correct, yeah.
And renew the 30.
Yeah.
29th day.
Yeah. It'll-
I have to renew every 29 days.
But you could. If you don't, you have to reprint it all.
If you don't, you have to re-put
You
all
have
the
to do
information
what?
back.
You can put it all the information. Go in and expire.
I can't even type and it took me a minute.
Security, everyone wanted security, it's security.
Okay? So that would take care of what you would feel to this point where you feel better about that?
I'm okay with what we have. If someone wants to consider discussing changing those numbers around based off of what we've heard and what we feel, we can. Like I said, permanent is set to 180, so 6 months, you get 4 of those. Temp is set to 30 and 1, you get unlimited of those with the option of maybe adding in like 2, we're at 2, so you could add in 3, 4, and 5. So if you wanted to do a 1 day, a 15 day, a 30 day to give people options, you can. But it's currently set to 30 and 1.
But that 30 people can adjust themselves.
Correct.
To this, they can change the date. So
It's
I went in and did on this weekend for a friend, and I said it can adjust Thursday through Sunday. Those are the days they have access, code shuts down.
It allowed me to go into 2025 for a start date.
Yeah.
For a temporary code,
Yeah.
so yeah, you could, March.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's not the 30 days, it's just, they're just automatically given.
Once it's
You
issued.
take that, the landowner has the control to say what days they,
They're
that code
the
is
only people that are
active.
getting 30 days are people that are giving it to.
Yeah, a landowner can give someone 30 days, or they can give someone 2 days, or they can give someone 15 days, but 30 days is the max for a temporary.
Yeah, if we were to take a temp code instead of say 30, we did 60, you can restrict it within
Yeah.
60. It's set to 30, so you as landowner can restrict it within the 30. You can even do, I only want you to come in on a Monday, I think.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
the 30 days is,
Yeah, you
is
can-
great for a temporary pass, but restricting that further down to say 15 days or 10 days, and someone's having to continually go back in all summer long for a gate code, it's just.
Okay?
Okay. Do we need to vote on that? Because I think we've already previously voted.
We've already voted on that.
$10, so we need to rescind that and re-vote if we're gonna keep it at 30.
Right, you're absolutely right. That is-
I may have slipped and not recalling the 10, but I'm. like I
It was
said-
before you.
Okay.
That's why you don't recall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, before me then too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
No.
Yes,
Yes, it was.
So we'd have to have a motion to change from the 10 days. So if you want to create a motion that says we're changing from a 10-day period to a 30-day period for guest pass.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that the max length of a temporary code is 30 days.
Hurts,
So we have
but I'll
to reference
second
the
it.
rule.
No,
No,
okay, no, we just
Sorry.
changed
Just
to-
trying to keep
No.
this thing going.
We have a motion.
I'll say.
Right.
he's his home guy.
Mom
Who's
wants
today?
it.
Any other discussion? Hearing none? Paul?
Karen,
Yes,
Tom,
Aye.
Rob,
Aye.
Morgan,
Aye.
Brian.
okay, so then I have one more question. The permanent vendor code 365. Is that, that would be my Carson Oil, the propane vendors, those kinds of things. Is there a limit on those?
I'm gonna defer
I was
this.
gonna say both Mary and I are like,
Mary?
Yeah.
yeah, Mary, go.
That is a manager role, capability only, and it's unlimited for managers only, administrators.
So,
So if
so
they,
the office could do, all the vendors
and they have, yeah,
that are, okay,
They've
because
started
then we could move the, fire engines into a permanent vendor position
Yes, that's what it should have been.
individually. Perfect, okay.
already working.
And this is, yeah, but the property owner is still responsible for construction vehicles, contractors who come in for them, repair people. This is for service people.
Right, so-
Yes, hang on, Mary, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, as a resident, you can only do a single day vendor pass, so if you've got Home Depot delivering to you, that's your only choice.
Yeah.
And so in the training, what we did tell some people, if you've got somebody that's gonna be here for 3 or 4 days, a contractor, then just do it as a visitor pass, because that's their limit.
Perfect, okay?
But so then what we do have is people like, we have some contractors that go to 4 or 5 different houses in a day and work. Sean Bell is one of them.
Sure.
He has several. So is each landowner that's hired him having to give him a code?
Yes,
Yes.
They're contractor.
he's a contractor and he's coming to them and they,
So then what happens? Okay, so we really need to relook at that one, but not right here, not today. There's a lot of other issues that go with that, but we can talk about it in SOPs.
okay?
I got one more quick motion. I want to thank Steve for getting the knock switch on the panel. This is very, very important to certain landowners who have called EMS and were locked out. I in fact watched it open and close with the switch being inserted, and all of Jefferson County, including Lake Chinook Fire, has this key. It does not matter if Proptia itself is kind of doing its thing, the key overrides, the gate opens. I'd like to make a motion to donate RFID tags to every single fire truck and EMS vehicle for Lake Chinook Fire and Rescue.
That's about 9 vehicles, just 8
If
vehicles.
he told me 8,
Okay.
you might
8
want to
vehicles.
plan on 9.
Just so.
Have a second?
A second.
Tom? Any discussion?
I have a discussion.
Yes.
They are not transporters of ambulance. So if you're gonna do that, you're gonna have to get an ambulance to have those.
This is just for us. This is just for our
I
own.
understand that, but they can't come in, and if Steve's having an issue, they cannot transport him. So somebody from Jefferson County, either Culver or Madras, probably Culver, would have to come and transport it. So they won't.
They have a knock switch.
They have a knock switch.
All of Jefferson County has the key.
Okay.
This is an extra step to help protect and serve our community.
Okay, well, that would be protecting Steve, because they can't transport. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but I want the person with the AED to get there first. I don't care about the transport.
So then you. Hold tight.
Hold on.
Can't hear. Would you please restate your motion, Ryan? I'm sorry. You said donate RFID tags. You said Jefferson County and.
No,
No.
that would be a debt forever.
Just Lake Chinook, okay.
Yeah.
Can we get an up to a max, so if they do have 9 and we vote on 8, we can still give them another one? or-
We could go to a max of 10.
Yeah,
Yeah.
second.
If he wants one for his personal car, he needs to buy it.
Any other,
Right.
any,
We'll be sticking them
any
too.
others, let's not get into personal. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none.
Karen?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
Morgan?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Yep.
And Mary, you had a comment?
I was just gonna say, I was told by Shauna that currently with the EMT present at Lake Chinook, they are transporting. So that may be something new, but it does require the EMT to be on site to help provide that. So
Okay,
just for clarification.
sure. All right, great.
Is it okay if I can install those? Can I
Yeah,
install them?
We should have him install them where they need to go on that, so it's not. like
No,
end
no,
of
no,
the
no.
issue.
I did not hand them to Don.
We can go down to the fire department.
we'll do it.
But I meant with, not handing it to him, but with him so that he
Yeah.
puts them on with your oversight,
Test them out.
test them out so we know what the thing is,
Yep.
exactly.
Nobody tests it before they
And
do.
Ryan, we're back to you.
Printing names, that's no longer gonna happen. We heard you, no logos, no nothing. We're not printing anything on the cards. The cards are like credit cards. They're thinner, they're more secure. They have 2 numbers going into the system. Kosher.
Okay.
Issuing guest passes via the office, just want to make a side note. That was the standard in the past. We want to move away from that. Everyone has access to Proptia, and we want to kind of push the envelope to let everyone know that is the standard. Is there a way to get the office to do it on the admin side? Yes, but that's the direction we need to go.
I am not, there's a lot of people that we take care of in the office that just don't have internet, they don't have internet, they don't have, you know.
But
And we
there's
can take
also a lot
care
of people that the office has shared with us that just are like, oh shit, I
They're
don't
too
want to get
lazy.
in there, I
Well,
forgot my password.
yeah.
So I do think that there needs to be some procedures
Well,
He
to
doesn't
make
have
them
a-
push that on.
Yeah, that's something that we can discuss later as far as it goes on.
And then there's
It'll be a
comment.
water.
There's a comment in the back.
Comment?
We need to be, yeah.
Hold
So I
on.
have a question about who do we know who are owners and who do we know who are guests? For the 30 years while we've been up here, you're supposed to have a guest pass in your car or a sticker. So what are we doing now that they don't have to print their stuff?
Great
It is
question.
for safety,
Because it's
so
part of the
also-
rules also.
Totally, and we haven't seen that for a very long time. This isn't a new issue.
But
This
it
is a constant issue.
it's a constant issue, but now we have 3-hour watch that says we're following the rules that we have
But
done.
I'm part of the 3-hour watch.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
will go to the beach and say, nothing, sticker, nothing. So what are all these nothing people?
Can,
I can say from our end, I agree that this is a problem.
Could-
Printing is not a thing that a lot of
Some
our
people don't
group
have
do
printers
anymore.
anymore, so.
we're
We don't
saving
have
trees.
printers, because they don't print out the
Can
paper.
3-hour
They
watch,
have them on their
can,
phone.
Hold on.
can 3-hour watch have access, like read-only access or something, so they can see, they can correlate a license plate that they write down
But we
to-
don't have time to do that.
to the
in-
Proptia system?
What
I'm
would
just
that
trying
get
to.
us? I mean, that would be so that, could that kind of access be developed? Sure, could develop it, but what would that get them? Because what we're asking them is to document, and then rules and regs is doing the investigation on who the individual was. So I think what the statement was about is that, you know, we keep asking all the landowners to kind of step up and police your own community. That's what we should be doing, is policing our own community. Well, how do we know if they're a landowner or a guest or something else? Because, you know, I know just in hearing all the conversations, there's been a lot of times where even the landowners are like, oh, no, they didn't belong to me. And there wasn't really any recourse back because they weren't attached to a vehicle, right? Not everybody's sitting right on top of their vehicle. They might have been on a motorcycle or something like that. So I think the question that still comes is the enforcement of the guest, a visual guest pass, visual sticker versus kind of a nothing that we've done now.
Well, it went to nothing in 2018 when we went to IBAM. And then it, you know, you can get a guest pass in IBAM. You are able to put in your guests and have them send you a guest pass. A lot of people did not. So it kind of got watered down at that point. Maybe we need to relook at, you know, what's in our bylaws and what's in our rules and say, maybe we have to change those because this is where we're going. So that's just a process that we're gonna have to look at.
So if someone's down there, they either had a pass or somebody gave them a guest pass, right? So I think to some degree, you have to assume there's a reason. Now, we're gonna have a license plate reader next year. A lot of things are gonna get changed. If we wanna maintain something at the office where, because we need to, I hate to use the word, we need to train our landowners to go to Proptia to handle their own business, right? If they don't wanna do that and they need to have somebody go to the office, I'm sure we can come up with like a $5 fee per guest pass, just, you know, if it costs $5 to throw something in the trash. Maybe we say, hey, it's $5 or $10 if we have to do stuff at the office because you don't want to do it.
We have to do your work.
If we have to do your work, that's fine. And I think it's reasonable that, because things happen, right? That there is a method or a way for a landowner that, for whatever reason, can't do it that time or whatever. So what's $5 like for garbage? It's a service fee.
Yes,
Hi, it's Connie Heights. If I could just make a suggestion about guest passes and boat passes. If they want to pull up onto the beach, they have to have a boat pass in their boat, but maybe at the gate, when guests check in, if we just have a stack of those sitting there, they can fill them out, put them in their car after they enter the gate, and they can take a boat pass and put it in their boat, and then they're all done. They fill it out once they get the things, and they're just available for them to have. So one way to show the guests from the owners.
Yeah, but they
And
can
we did
grab a
that for
stack.
the
and-
last two holidays. So for people that came in that didn't have booze dot on the thing, we had tons of guest passes and we asked them, even if they gave us their phone so that we could plug them in, we handed them pass and we said, please, would you fill this out and put it on your dashboard while you're in the thing
Great.
for the week.
Perfect.
So that we got to.
Let's keep trying.
And we gave them boat passes. Same thing. If they had a boat that wasn't 3 years, we gave them a boat.
Let's see what happens.
What prevents somebody from just reprinting some of them or grabbing some and then not being here and being able to use our
Well,
deed?
you know, that argument could be said about everything, yeah, that the liar, cheater, thief can do anything a liar, cheater, thief does. So what we need to do is just start that. I've watched the watch group do that, and they did, you know, it's a start. It gives us at least a heads up on what we're doing. We'll try it.
Must be color change. Well, it'd be something like a monthly color change.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they do at the state parks, when you check in one day.
The thing that hangs in the window.
So, okay,
Okay, so
we've got, yeah, believe me, I'm gonna, Jesus. Okay, so, then we had on the bottom of that was mail.
Yep.
okay, hold on, I'm not, no, I'm not done.
Oh, well, you said that was the last thing you had on there.
No, I have a question for Steve. In order to issue the license plate transponders, that either the cards or the RFID tags, it has to be associated to a license plate, period. So how are we going to do that? If somebody comes in, to the office, are we just gonna ask people, okay, the cards are here, everybody come into the office and you're just gonna buy them right there? Is that what we're gonna do? We kind of need a plan
To
here.
correlate a vehicle to a landowner is what you're getting at?
No,
No?
in order to activate the RFID tags, they have to be associated to a car license plate. They go together. So either we have to individually put those numbers in for that landowner and their license plate, or Steve, are they uploaded, all those numbers, the cards and the RFID tags, are they uploaded into the system that we can access them?
The card, when you upload a card or in the other box, it's actually really simple, but they could be preloaded. They are
Right.
not.
Okay, they're not
They
preloaded.
are not preloaded.
Okay,
That actually, it actually makes you find the preloaded tag that you're gonna use. And the other thing that would make it a lot simpler is if people put their vehicles in Promptia ahead of time.
correct, but people are gonna come in and ask to buy tags, we're gonna verify that they are the landowner, and then,
So what each person will be doing, whether it's me or you, or the office, will be putting that first line up. So we take responsibility for putting them in Promptia, or are you gonna make them have the responsibility to get themselves into 3-hour record copy.
I'm saying if Rob comes in and wants to buy an RFID tag,
So Rob is in the system and he's gonna be
and
pulled up by name.
he has not put his license plates in.
Correct, then we can add that.
Okay.
That is a step that we need to make, if he hasn't.
I'll make a form that we'll use in the office to do this thing, so we have everybody assigned to the right RFID tags.
And if they have not set up their property, maybe a quick start guide, say, here's.
Right.
Can I interject there?
Yep.
So, instead of just another manual form that we then have to track, there's actually forms available to start that we already started that conversation on. So when somebody comes in to do, an RFID tag, they would be able to get on their phone, fill out the form that gives their name, their license plate, their blah, blah, blah. The office could confirm what they are, where that connection is, like, do they really get to have a tag or not?
And where's that at?
It's in, the form is in HOA stuff.
Okay.
We haven't made it active, nor have we even perfected it at all. It was just a, hey, we could do it this way so that we can look at it. And it would be just like the link for gate access and all the other things, you could make the same kind of link. The office would then get the form, so they would get the form emailed to them, that the landowners filled out all the information, and when they issue an RFID tag, they'd be able to go in and enter it.
So before we start all this and start issuing tags and cards, we really need to have all of that perfected.
Correct.
This is gonna be, we need to meet about that, because we don't have any training on that. For somebody who walks in, a new landowner, a new whatever, we have to have some processes for that. Okay.
It won't take up time, I promise. I'll give you the steps. You go to residence, you search for residence name, you click on that name, you go to credentials.
But we're not gonna write that down right now. I mean,
No,
we're
we're gonna go forward with Mary, Michelle, and I will meet, we'll work that office process out.
Just simplifying this a little, on the cards themselves, all you're checking is the deeded owner to 2 cards, period. The RFID tags would be deeded owner to RFID tag to registration to payment. Well, they both have payment, but to payment and access. And one disclaimer on the form for the RFID tag will state, if you do not put this on the vehicle associated in this signed form, we reserve the right to discontinue this tag at no cost to the association.
And that's it on that form, have you seen it?
That's where we're building.
Okay, no, that's perfect.
And
That is
can I-
perfect.
Can I add, is there any kind of motion or anything that needs to be brought forth for, so like, we have the ability to pay garbage, violations, RFID tag, key cards, we have that ability to pay through Stripe on HOA Start. Does there need to be a motion that says, do? I don't know what that motion would look like.
You mean that?
It says we can do that now?
No, there wouldn't be a need for, that's a payment process that we're allowing. We're providing that as a convenience. We're not, a motion would end up having to make
Just
it
wait for the 5 to hit the bank.
manage it. That would then become I would rather have it be an option for the.
So we tested it and now
And
we're
it
just
worked.
waiting.
Yeah.
We're waiting
We
for
can put it in
Philstone to
option
confirm.
And it will work, but if we're not making it mandatory that they have to use the Stripe, or they have to have Venmo, or they have to do whatever.
Right.
They can still come up with $5 and put the garbage.
Okay.
Okay?
I think I covered all of mine.
Then Ryan, we'll go to the mail issue that you.
Just. I know. I'm more back on associate residents. Are we going to, who's gonna email these people and say this, that you've set up these people?
That's part of our communications. That's
Okay.
what communications does. Communications is going to tell people what to do. We're working on a process with Steve, so it's a step-by-step, and we go out. That's communication.
So they're gonna, but it's off now, right? You said that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where are we, Steve, with associate residents? What have we done at this point? being on.
All of the, houses, are.
But what,
I don't know if they work, I don't know, so if an associate, so Mary and I experienced this, we had we tested an earlier tag that was turned off and then turned back on. The QR worked, but the number did not.
Yeah, I don't think that's the question you asked.
No, what are you?
Associate residents, the feature is off for landowners to add them, but people have already added them. Where are we with the people that they added as an associate resident label?
The answer is that they might not work because that switch was turned off. Anything they did may not work.
So you're saying that's similar to when we turned something
Similar
off.
to the same thing that we did with the QR.
but who's going to allow to let them know that it's shut off?
Communication, put something on the Facebook.
What I'm asking is, have you deleted them yet? Or has,
Everything but spouses.
so, okay, we may be a little late on sending emails out to those that have been deleted.
We're gonna catch up.
So I just need a communication from you, Steve, so that we can send it out on what you did and what the process is.
Yeah, be more generic instead of specific, because you
Yeah.
no longer have the emails of the people that were associates because they've been deleted.
Yeah. And who they contact, because it ain't this girl. Just saying. Okay.
All right,
All right, mail, we've already kind of discussed it. USPS is our only problem child in the office with packages. I went to the post office, asked what our increase in volume looks like as far as parcels. She said, you can buy whatever you want. You have room to expand. It's on us. I think we kind of already know that. I didn't know that. There is a lot of packages that sit in there, and this is two problems. One being the number all just sitting in there, and we've already identified the liability. Two being people that do not have primary residence here. They send packages here, and this might be unbeknownst to them, they end up in the office and say they're not gonna be here for 6 months. I know upon asking certain people that we are requesting USPS to not give those to us, but they, I guess, seem to end up here anyways.
Marlene, just go ahead.
Hey, Ryan,
Yes,
on the packages, if they don't have a mailbox, they don't get packages in there. USPS.
so I know we're saying that they don't, but I feel like it's still somewhat kind of happening on top of the liability of people who do have primary residence here. So the forward vision is to get more parcel lockers installed out front to accommodate all the packages, because we're saying, oh, they're all full. We may not be able to install enough to fully satisfy it, but according to USPS, their procedure is, if it does not fit, it will be held at the post office for up to 15 days. If they do not have primary residence, it will be held at the post office for up to 15 days. If they elect to drive around and deliver them, that's on them. But the reason I asked for what our options were was to get the packages out of the office entirely, but also not force everyone to go to the post office just for a package. I understand that's an inconvenience. I'm not trying to inconvenience, trying to make it fair for everyone, but also remove the clutter and the liability out of the office specific to USPS packages, because FedEx and UPS does make it all the way there.
They don't, FedEx Ground Express doesn't.
FedEx is.
So
Doesn't.
as long as we allow, as long as we keep signing for things, they're going to keep doing it. So as long as you open the door and say, come on in, they're gonna keep coming on in. It's their responsibility to figure out how to get to you. And this also ties into certified mail. The resident or someone who has approved someone else to sign for you, I believe should be the only person signing for you. So like if you have something that's very official, some random person in the office, whether it be the office employee or not the employee, should not be the one signing. And it's on the deliverer to figure that out, not for someone to just randomly sign and someone else say, well, you signed, that's cool.
Our option, we could take the library, remove everything out of the library, put a door on the end where the boxes are and shelves in there, and open it at 10 and close it at 5, and that people could go in and out at will. That's an option.
And that's something we can discuss.
Absolutely.
So we'll look into that. Mary, you had a comment?
Yeah, I was just question is, do only full-time residents have post office or have the boxes out here?
No.
That's what's supposed to be.
No, it's supposed, anybody, those mailboxes are associated to addresses. So if you go in and you get a mailbox, it's associated to that address no matter who lives there. So if you could be a part-time resident and still have a mailbox associated to that address.
My point was that if you don't have a mailbox, that you can't get a parcel delivered out there because there's no place for the mail person to put the key.
Correct.
So that was the only point.
Wait, you said this isn't your primary residence?
Correct.
And you have a key to a box out here in front?
Absolutely.
It goes with the property.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that, okay.
It goes to the
So
property.
technically, everyone should have a key
Yeah,
if they
and
go pay
so
for it.
what we did, just to bring this real close, right, I think it was last year, year before, the association bought, I think Bill was there.
Yeah.
We bought one and to have
That is-
additional
Right.
things for people to use. I don't know if they bought them all up.
They've all bought up.
So
Yeah.
if we have another issue, maybe we
5 more boxes.
buy more boxes and put them up, and we factor in, I mean.
Okay, and we can look at that then.
I
Okay.
will say one other thing is that with Proptia, if we decide to renovate the library for a parcel locker, we can get Elite to install very likely our same key cards and open them. That's one form of security. So that's an option, whether we want to explore it, it's down the road, but.
Mary?
I would just say that's unsafe, because you've got cars coming in and going out, and you've got no
They
place
used
to
it for a
park.
library.
So you're trying to carry a box,
Yeah.
over to one of the parking areas. So-
The point I'm just bringing up is that there's things being discussed and looked at for the future to solve the problem.
Okay.
We could immediately tell the post office that office will accept no overflow packages.
Is that including Amazon as well?
Everything,
Uh-huh.
everything. That's an absolute entire possibility. John, our regular postman, is like, then he would just give you a yellow card that says you have a package in the office, or I mean, at the post office. And that would absolve the association of any liability
Driving to the post office
any
every day.
packages. You would have to be driving into the post office every day, that's the issue. What was happening was the girls were nicely writing on the bottom the names, that became an issue. And you only have to be yelled at once to say, that's not my name, whatever, and or medical supplies.
So.
They were told they were asked, just take it home with you and put it in your fridge. Okay, that's a huge liability. So we just need to look at this, more package or lockers would be a great idea. But we're getting people that don't have mailboxes out here that are gonna be up for next week, and 20 packages are being delivered for that person because they're gonna be here next week and come in and pick it up. That's what we put a stop to.
And this is a topic that we're going to have a little more discussion on. Could be a good workshop issue with some other things, so we'll move on from this, okay? So, volunteer fund, I know volunteer fundraising is not on there, but I kind of moved you guys, so
Yeah.
Meg, jump in here now, or?
Yep. So donations, we are having the Labor Day games, and they have been taken on by 3 of our property owners, so we are just delighted.
Thank you.
The Pulliams, Kyle and Tabitha, and Sherry Williams.
Yeah, no.
Anyhow, they have been asked if people asked where they could donate money. And so as usual, when somebody comes in and wants to donate money, it should be put into the volunteer fundraising committee's account. And then if they want to specify that it goes to either the Easter egg hunt or the Labor Day games, that we should be able to do that, please. And then as far as the docking goes, the volunteer committee has paid for that, and we were expecting to pay for that. And so if that hasn't been taken out of our account and put back into the LOA, please do that, because we're totally taking responsibility for that. And then my last thing, I will say this, and then I'm going to make a motion. because these poor individuals only have 2 weeks, and it takes quite a while to get a reimbursement, I have from Kent's garage sale, with me today, I have $2,500 that I'm gonna have them sign for. That'll be their startup money. And I want the board to vote, and here's my motion. I want the board to vote that they're going to reimburse me this $2,500 within the next 30 days. So that's my motion. Up to 20, I have $2,500 right here. I'm gonna give to them, have them sign for it.
With documentation.
And I already made out this thing. I already made out that thing. So all you
And
have to do is put your name on it.
Meg, we would need the receipts that they use. Yeah, but that's your documentation of them, that's protecting you.
No,
But
we have all
just
of
the
our
receipt for whatever they buy, that's all we gotta do. So,
every receipt for everything we purchased.
yeah,
Fully
yeah,
documented. And put together
just
a
throw
package.
those back in an envelope or something for the funeral.
That's my motion.
So really, I'll make the motion
Yeah,
for
Karen.
you to reimburse Meg up to $2,500 from startup costs for Labor Day games.
Yes, please.
Karen made the motion, second,
Second.
Tom, Mr. Second. Any other discussion?
So, well, not about this motion, so continue what you're.
Okay.
Do we need to add, like, with documentation including?
No,
receipts?
I think.
That's a standard operating
Yeah,
procedure.
that would be it, that would be it. So, we can call?
Ready?
Yep.
Okay, Karen,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Rob,
Aye.
Morgan,
Aye.
Brian.
No, okay.
We actually do have additional questions. So,
Sure.
so we've had people already reach out to me asking to where they can drop off a donation and how that funnels back to us and Labor Day games. How do we then, what's the process for us getting access to that if we do run over the $2,500?
All you have to do is supply receipts.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
but do we take it to the office? Like, is there someone we need to?
All you have to do is give it to either Kyle or Meg, and then
Okay, that's what I just
they
wasn't sure of
could-
that process.
Yeah, what we're trying to do for the simplification of it is you only have to go to either Meg or Kyle.
Okay.
They control everything. They go ahead and bring it to the board and they do everything after that. So that leaves you not having to chase anybody down.
Yeah, that's what we were worried about.
And then, sorry, and the other question is, in terms of donations, so people are already offering to bring raffle donations, prize donations. Is that okay for them to take to the front office? I can
Actually,
pick
Meg-
them up at a later time,
Yeah.
but is there a place that we could?
Meg
store
has,
them?
Meg has a spot here in the annex. There's a room where
Right
she,
here.
yeah, this
So
one,
we can come.
Okay.
they just go in there.
Okay,
That's-
that's what, they
that's-
just wanted to make sure that the
yeah.
office was still an appropriate location to.
This,
Want to file them more.
And we didn't want, yeah, we heard about the mail stuff, people were worried that they were gonna be causing more issues, and they wanna make sure that was still an appropriate.
No,
way
this
of
goes
managing.
into the end.
Okay.
it just goes right in this room.
Perfect.
Yeah, anything else? Yeah. Run.
Connie again, do they have a budget for what they can spend on the Labor Day games? Beyond
We've allocated $2,500.
beyond the 2,500 though?
If people donate, we get
Just-
that
oh,
money.
yeah.
If we have
Oh,
sufficient
yeah.
donation,
Okay.
we're prepared to do 2,500. If
Good.
we could raise a bunch of money, great.
That is our plan.
Okay, all right, anything else? All right, new business wise, the wildfire protocols, Karen has already filed those. I believe she sent around to the board. Is there anybody who did not see those? So we got that. And the sponsorships on the HOA start, we already got that covered, so
Yeah.
that
Okay.
is not anything that we have. So, any other new business?
I
Yes.
want to back up to what Karen sent out for that Firewise,
Okay,
the,
wildfire protocols?
yes, that, I think that booklet, binder, whatever you want to call it, that's in the office, needs to be separated from the rest of all of the other books we have in there, mounted on a wall, mounted to red, so when people come in, they don't have to go through and sort, look for something, it's just automatic, they can grab it and go, because this is gonna be a hurry up, hustle up. Everybody's gonna be in a panic type of a mode operation. So if it's not in with everything else, a standalone, easy to grab, you don't have to
But
look for it.
it's just office protocol, so it doesn't affect everybody else. It only affects the people in the office. It's designed for what the girls or the office staff needs to know, whether to open the gate, shut the gate, when it happens. And then there's a group of volunteers that will be trained, Elaine will train. So who are you thinking needs access to it?
Any board member coming into it.
You all got it, right? I mean,
We all
okay.
have all those forms and they're all on our phone and. But isn't it all in the book where we just, if we have to come to the gate to get something going, we can grab that book and we pull the forms and start making them out? We got there's a piece in there for rumors.
Right, and that was
And that's gonna
designed
come-
for
that's
the
gonna come
office
here.
staff to, when people call in, the minute there's a.
All I'm saying, Karen, is if it's not stacked in with the whole catalog of other books and it's standalone, it's easy to grab and go. That's all I was suggesting.
Thank you.
And can I comment too, because I am the assigned person as the go-between from the fire department. Joe Parrott and his wife have trained me for a couple of years, and I've always been that go-to person. And the last time we had a fire, I was down here and helping the girls and taking phone calls and telling people not to come, because if you're not part of the problem, you've got to be part of the solution. So I have been trained by the parents to do that, and I will continue to do that if you'd like. And so is the office staff.
Yeah.
And the office staff.
Okay.
And then I'll add, and I didn't see that, Karen. But just a little side, this doesn't directly affect the association, but I did sign on with Lake Chinook to be the PIO for all of Lake Chinook fire. So any fire stuff that comes out will come from Lake Chinook or will be asked to be.
Okay, so
we'll work together.
So
Yeah.
Elaine
Exactly.
Parrott was the PIO. I didn't know that she had been.
Not for the fire department.
She was before.
Yes, she was. Yeah.
Yes, she has been. Yeah,
Okay, well, then
not
you can
recently,
choose if
not
you-
recently.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Then
not
you
recently.
can choose if you want me to keep doing.
100%. No. You don't get out of it that easy.
Meg, would you? Okay. Okay, Tom?
Okay, I don't know whether this is new business or old business, but I want to address something that came up in the 2021 long-range work plan draft dated September 27, 2021, initiative marina acquisition. Acquiring a marina has been a long-term association goal. Eventually, ownership by the association has advantages to both security and recreation. Continued diligence to ensure the association can consider purchasing the marina is important. The initiative continue efforts to acquire marina. I'm not sure we've really done much about that. The actions are update the revenue expense assessment for marina operations, clearly identify the consequences of not acquiring the marina. I think we pretty much know that. Review the current marina assessment to ensure it's adequate and work with the current owner to determine if and when he might consider selling the marina. I'd like to make a motion that we establish a marina acquisition committee chaired by Kyle Thompson and filled by members of his choice to look into any and all possible avenues of Three Rivers acquiring the marina.
I'll second that.
We don't know, we haven't done due
Hold
diligence.
it. We're not.
Can we say the motion one more time? I'm sorry, Tom.
Yeah.
I would like to have established a marina acquisition board chaired by chaired by Kyle Thompson, and have him fill that committee, subject to, I guess, if we have to vote on committee members, to explore and do the due diligence of, to establish any and all, ways that we could purchase a marina.
Yeah.
And then report back to the board.
And you've gotten Kyle's approval. He's okay with this?
I've had discussions, yes. I think we may not be asking the right question. I don't think the question is, should we buy the marina?
I think the real question is, how do we protect that marina as an
Okay.
asset for the?
And that's great, and that's what we'll hope you bring back to the board, but as long as you're willing to accept this, because this is a big, it's a biggie. It's a biggie, okay? So we have a motion on the floor, do we have a second?
Second.
Ryan did, right?
Okay, any other discussion?
Does it have to be a committee? Can it be a task force very similar to what we established for the gate? So we
Yes,
don't
it
have
can
to-
be a task force, a single unit task force, or a single purpose task force, if you would like. And
What's the difference?
the difference is the way it's handled by the board of directors. We don't, the task force, they choose their committee people. Joe Parrott's report was a task force.
Let me rephrase my motion then. I'd like to
Can you
create,
amend the
amend
motion?
my motion, instead of calling it a committee, a task force,
Single
because
purpose task.
it's gonna take people with varied skills to be able to assess this thing, and unless you have those skills, you know, maybe one person for voice of reason, but he's gotta handpick this group.
Right,
We need
and
skills.
there's possibly gonna need to be more than 6.
That is correct.
And so that's, again, that's why I went to Joe and did the task force. So if we want to do that, so we've amended it to say task force,
That's fine.
then we will do that. Second stands, any other discussion?
The results of this task force and what they find, what's the next steps they present? to
Just
us?
as Joe did, they report directly.
And then it goes on the ballot potentially.
Then we would decide what the ballot measure would actually read, yes. Yes. Back there?
Who's gonna fund this? I mean, when he goes in to open up a can of worms about this marina, there's a lot of things there, a lot of you people know nothing about. And it was done years ago. And the county, I don't know if they know about it or if they've just let it slide, but there's some things in there that it's.
Yeah. In that.
So in order to find out about this stuff, you're gonna have someone look into it other than this committee. I mean, that's the
purpose of the committee.
Budget wise, that would fall under a legal inquiry, because you would have to have an attorney that would be able to go to the county, and they would come to the board with that request, so we would have it. We do already have those items budgeted, so we'll get it out of there. Yeah, as Tom said earlier, this is an in-depth, this is a big process, and that's why Kyle's willing to step into this. That's a big step.
And we
don't
don't
get into a can of worms, I can tell you that.
Oh, yeah. I'm a little older than you are, and I've heard a lot of those rumors about what's going
And I've been
on.
up there since '74, and I've seen a lot of things.
Yeah.
So we have a motion to amend first.
Yes, we have a motion to amend, and it has been seconded, so we'll do that.
Okay.
Kyle, anything? Just make sure you have the floor.
No, I understand the task, and I think there's a lot of questions. As you mentioned, there's a lot of questions,
Okay?
And I'm not sure you want to buy it.
Hearing no further discussion, we'll vote on the amended motion.
Karen?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Rob?
Aye.
Morgan? Ryan?
Yep.
No, yes.
So then we have the motion on the floor.
Establish the committee.
Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, we'll call for that.
Karen?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Rob? Morgan? Ryan? Yes.
Okay, so that gets your process on, and that, remember the email I sent out months ago? That was part of that, trying to get the process, so we got that going. Good, thank you for bringing that up, excellent. So, any other new business? Okay, our next meeting would be
September 15th, yeah.
September 15th. Wow, that's right in the middle of the month. That doesn't hardly seem fair. Does that look like a good day for everybody? Please check your calendars.
No, it's Oktoberfest.
It
It
is
doesn't matter.
in September.
Yeah, it's always in September.
It always feels weird because it's Oktoberfest in September.
It will be at the annex here and the Zoom meeting as well. So I will then entertain a Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Yes.
No seconding.
Second.
Hold on. So several people have already asked me if we're gonna eventually move, I know I brought it up last meeting, but they've asked if we're gonna eventually move this to the event center, so,
We'd love to, but this acoustics is.
okay, we're sticking to that?
Yeah. Now, if we can figure out a way to do the acoustics,
Things better.
we'll move it. Michelle likes it here, and still Michelle likes it there better.
Full of it, but yeah.
All right.
Okay, Dave.
Can we have a vote?
We need a vote.
No, we didn't.
No, you only first and second.
We have a motion to adjourn
Rob motioned it, Tom seconded.
at 11:40. All those in favor, call for.
Darren,
Yes.
Aye.
Rob.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you all for coming. And we got out before 1 o'clock. I feel good.
Dave, I will get a red light.